What the hell is up? Today I'm going to analyze, I know I said I wouldn't really do those anymore, but this is a bit different, my 129.07 in movie, at the time 80%, but now it's no major glitches. Back in, I got it on, like, I think I got it on the, I guess I uploaded it on the 16th, but yeah, I got it on the 16th, I'm 99% sure, 2018. I do need to give some backstory. I was gonna originally, like, have face cam and then have my reaction to it, like, listening to the audio and everything, like, but then I actually, like, hold on, let me stop the music for a sec, like, hold on.
I haven't done French since year 9.
Yeah, we're not doing that, so, let me just put the music back on. Okay. So, yeah, we're not doing that. So I do need to give a bit of backstory. I should have had, like, I should have shown the boards, but whatever. So, when okay, so I started playing movie in, like, August 2016, but then I stopped for a bit, and then, yeah, a little on and off, and then I stopped for ages. I played Battle. And then PAL Sponge Glide was, like, the worst fucking thing ever. So I went back to movie, and I just kept going and going and going, and, like, hardly anybody, a lot of times when I was playing, like, no one else was playing, so I was able to just kind of bop people, almost like a checklist. Alright, I bop this person, I bop this person, because, like, they probably weren't coming back. But there were some people playing, you know, like Alloy and Jessway, but eventually they stopped. Tedious came back at some point, but then he stopped, and Chris came back temporarily for BBBH backwards, and, you know, but... like, so I came back from, like, October 2017, and I just kept playing very consistently. I think in that entire time, the longest I ever went without playing movie was literally, like, 4 days. And, well, twice. Yeah, 4 days, 2 separate times, and one of those times was because I was in a different country. So I couldn't, you know, and the thing is, right, is that the only time that there's been, like, real world record competition... okay, so, there was a little bit of competition between Cole and Redmoss, and, I mean, Chris and Redmoss, and then there was a bit of competition, actually, no, that was kind of... and then, you know, that was in 2016, and then fast forward to 2018, Chris came back, Tedious came back, and I was still playing. And that was the last time there has ever been, like, genuine world record competition. Except for, like, you know, like, Oofster got a couple world records in early powers and Frogfish and stuff, but, like, I'm talking, like, you know, like, the big, like, main categories, that was, like, the only... like, I mean, me and Tedious went a tiny bit back and forth in all tokens, and but it was always just, like, I would do a couple runs, I get world record by, like, fucking, like, 5 seconds, and then I just, you know, nobody would touch it for months, and then Tedious would come back, you know, PB by, like, 50 seconds, like, it was more of an uphill battle for me in those, because I didn't have, like, the... you know, those are more, like, grindy. I didn't have the tolerance built up, or the consistency. And that leads me to, like, me, Chris, and Tedious, we were all, like, different types of players, really. I was fucked by PAL 360, but we didn't know that back then. We didn't know that for a while. So, at the time, it was kind of like... Chris was the best player. Like, everybody knew it. Chris was the best player. He had the highest potential. The problem is that his consistency was just not it. Like, when he was on a run, he was on a goddamn run, but he was so inconsistent. Really, really inconsistent. And then Tedious was, like, very consistent. He was doing slightly slower stuff, but he was, like, very consistent. But he played the least out of the three of us. And I was kind of like an in-between of the two. I did do, like, slightly, like, I did stuff that was, like, as fast or slightly slower than Tedious, you know, like, he did, like, a faster guest jump setup, for example, but I also did Sunday jump, so, but yeah, I was getting fucked by PAL 360. Tedious, Chris was on NTS COG, and Tedious was on, NTSC 360. Tedious's 360 was fast. I don't know about Chris's OG and my PAL 360. I think for a PAL 360, the loads were good, but it was also a fucking PAL 360. So, obviously, I wasn't just getting the slower loads from PAL, I was also getting the slower driving, so, yeah, it just wasn't, it was, yeah. So people were just like, oh, Pibble has, like, the worst, like, driving movement, but no, it was literally just, like, I was getting fucked. But yeah, I wasn't, like, I wasn't far behind these guys at all. Like, if anything, I feel like I probably had, like... I mean, Chris probably had the best movement, but again, inconsistency. So I had, like, a lot, like, a good... I was decently consistent, and I probably had the best movement, and I was putting in the most amount of hours into the game. So I had, like... I think I was putting in the most hours anyway. I definitely was compared to Tedious, but I don't know about Chris, but I think so. So I was, like... On the grind more, I had more opportunities for a good time, and I was, like... Again, like, I feel like my movement was good because I was playing more often. So we were all grinding, and Chris had a 131.10. Tedious had a 131.32, and I had, like, a 131.34. Though that run that I had, dude, it took me 3 months to get that run. I just couldn't, and then when I did, I lost like 50 seconds in 3 meters. So I knew I was, like, we were all capable of Reki, and everybody knew it. It was just, like, who was gonna get it and when. I mean, obviously, Chris was, at the time, considered to be favored. But me and Tedious, we were only, like, 20-something seconds behind. We absolutely were capable, especially because Chris was quite inconsistent. And I broke through. I was the first to break through. Matter of fact, Tedious, since those grinds back then, Tedious has only improved his NMG time once, and Chris has never improved his. So, it was kind of funny, by the way, because I remember when BBBH Backwards got found, Tedious was playing at this time. Chris came back, and he didn't just PB, because, you know, that shit saves like 40 seconds. He didn't just PB, dude. He PB'd by 1:40. And the crazy thing is, as well, is that he had, like, big mistakes. You know, he had a really bad combat, a really bad sandwich ring. He missed XD boost in, like, the slowest way possible. He got terrible RNG, and then he missed the trick. Just stuff like that. So his potential was... I remember the conversation that me and Tedious had. If I recall correctly... I remember Monster Skip for some reason, so I think I might have been practicing Monster Skip when that happened, or I might have been, maybe I was watching a run that had Monster Skip. I don't know, I just remember Monster Skip being a part of it for some reason. But like, you know when sometimes you can only remember something because it's, like, tied to something else in that sense? But yeah, I remember I talked to Tedious, because at the time, you know, I was, like, I had, like, a 139. My time fucking sucked. I was, like, 135 capable. And Tedious had, like, I think he had, like, a 135 or 6 or something. But we literally said to each other, like, yeah, after Chris getting that time, like, neither of us are getting fucking world record. Like, it's just not happening, and we have to accept that. And I remember Tedious was like, yeah, like, it's probably just not happening. I should say as well that, like, a big reason why Tedious wasn't playing as much was because he had work, by the way. It wasn't like, lazy Andy. Although I do... Like, this isn't to discredit him. He was very good for how, like, not little he played, because he still put in a good amount of time, but, like, comparatively, like, he was pretty, like, if he played as much as me and Chris, he probably would have gotten world record first, assuming he wouldn't have stopped. But even if he wasn't working, I don't know, I have a hunch he wouldn't have played as much as me and Chris, but it's hard to say, like, you just don't know. But, like, when Chris is dedicated, he gets, like, really dedicated, and I was just dedicated just anyway. I just kept going, and I just didn't want to stop, I don't know. Like, especially because, like, the PAL situation in battle hadn't been, like, fixed yet. I don't know, I was just kind of like, you know. But, yeah, I just kept playing movie. Whenever I was, like, really satisfied, I was planning on stopping, but it just didn't happen. But yeah, I broke through with 1:30.25, right? And that was big. That was a 45-second world record. Like, so it was basically, like, that's a huge lead. It's not like Chris couldn't get that time, but it was like, that was a huge lead at the time. And because, you know, back then it was actually still possible to PB by like a minute. That's not really a thing anymore at the top level. You can't really do that. In like, in any of the category, you can't get a top, like, if you're, like, gonna compete for world record, like, you're not fucking PBing by a minute anymore. Like, 20 seconds maybe, not like a minute. 30? I say that, I PB'd in Hundo by a lot, but I was, like, so overdue for a good PB after the 8-month grind. But yeah, also that run was just, like, really good. I know I'm, like, 10 minutes in and I've just been yapping, but, like, you need the context, you need the yapathon. You need it. So... I was, like, again, like, obviously I knew I was capable of it, or else I wouldn't have, like, you know, tried, but, I would have just kept playing anyway, but you know what I mean. So I don't really remember the run that well, but I think it was just like, because back then, because considering we could PB by a lot, like the game was just considered hard even though we weren't doing that much stuff. So it was probably just that like my 131, I know it had like 50 seconds in 3 meter, but it probably also had like 30 seconds in plank, and I just like saved most of it, you know, something like that. Considering I PB'd by a minute, what was it, like, what was it, like a minute 9? Yeah, it was like a minute 9, I think. So it was like the 3 meter thing, and then I probably just had slightly better execution elsewhere, and then also like grabbed another like 10 seconds. You gotta remember, like, this was before buffers, so like token frames are a huge time save or time loss, and obviously they're not luck, but they can feel like it when there's so many of them, and you know. So yeah, I was the first to break through, and I'm not trying to discredit Tedious, I'm really not. I think at the time, Tedious was kind of considered out of the running, because his PBs were, like, a little smaller than mine and Chris's, but again, he was, like, a lot more consistent, he played closer to Sob, but me and Chris had, like, faster Sobs, because, like, I feel like I just played more, so my Sob was more, like, was faster, and Chris's Sob was just really good. And after that, I decided to implement something that at the time was called a task route. It was fucked. We'll get into it in the run, but yeah, I switched my splits, because we were splitting on, like, token touch and stuff. I started splitting on load, so that's when, like, you know... Well, at the time, you know what's funny about that 130-25? If it was on NTSC OG, it's harder to 2-frame tokens on the OG controller, but assuming I would have gotten just as many, that would have been, like, 129, because, you know, I was probably losing, like... But my loads are probably about roughly the same as Chris's, but, like, I was losing, like probably, like, 20 from the driving. Actually, yeah, it probably would have been 129 then. Yeah, because I was probably losing, like, 20 seconds from the driving. But then again, I was on PAL, so the loads were slower than they should have been, so... Yeah, no, it would have been 129, assuming I wouldn't have, you know, played worse on OG, but, you know... And assuming I wouldn't have choked. And then I got the 130.07. You know what's really weird about the 130.07? Oh yeah, so I got the 130.25 on July 1st, 2018. Then I think it was on the 7th or the 8th, but I think it was the 7th. I got that on the, what's it called? I got that on, yeah, on like the 7th or whatever, but it was, so I PB'd by like 18 seconds. The thing is, though, at the time, and I remember, like, Chris made a tweet about it, and he was like, guys, can we kind of just, like, put this game to rest after, like, 129 happens? Because at the time, like, 128 wasn't known to be possible, so we, you know, it was like, oh, well, just, like, let it rest, you know? That's, like, the big 10-minute, that's, like, the last 10-minute barrier the category's ever gonna get. Lol. Considering the world record now is a 119, yeah, that didn't last, but obviously at the time it's like, you don't realize like how much time save there is, or like what's gonna get found. And our standards were much, much lower back then. So, yeah, so, but then I got the 130.07, and it's not notable, like, nobody cared when I got that run, it was really weird. Like, how, like, I'm so glad that wasn't 129, because, like, nobody cared. Like, I'm not saying that in, like, any sort of bitter way. I'm so glad, again, it wasn't 129. Because it was on 129 pace into Neptune, and I lost, like, 30 seconds in Neptune. So we knew from that run that mid-129 was possible. And I was like, I just have to go for this time, dude. Like, I gotta do it. Chris and Tedious was still playing at this point, I believe. I know Chris was. I'm not 100% sure about Tedious. But he probably was, because this was not that long after. It was just a couple weeks. But yeah, this is when I started, like, I wasn't necessarily, I mean, when I got that 130.07, I think I might have been in contention for best player. But the thing, again, if I was on NTSC OG, I don't think the 130.25 solidified myself as, like, the definite best player, but the 130.07 would have if we knew how much of a disadvantage I was at by being on PAL 360. Because, again, that would have very easily been 129 as well. Like, not even from the loads, but even just the driving, you know? Like, I would have been able to miss more token frames and I still would have gone it, you know? I would have had, like, a big leniency of, like, 30-plus seconds. On top of the 30 seconds I choked in Neptune anyway. So, yeah, it was literally just, like... I think looking back at it, that's when I was, like, the best player, probably. Not to discredit Chris and TDS, they were very good, and I'm glad that we had that world record competition. Obviously, you don't want to lose your record, you don't want to get bopped, like, that still feels, like, not great, but you need that, well, you don't need it, but, like, the game benefited a lot from that competition, I feel like. Especially, you know, specifically, like, the really, really big games and like, the small games. Those, I feel like, benefit the most from world record competition, because it just, like, especially, like, the huge games, like Super Mario 64, like, people are just into that, especially because, like, that community has a little more of a normie crowd. A game doesn't need world record competition. Well, no game needs it. And some games don't benefit from it at all. But I feel like for movie, like, at least at the time, I feel like it was a good thing. And it probably would be nice to have now. It'd at least motivate me to come back, but obviously I wouldn't feel good from losing my times. But you know it's for the good of the game, so it's like, you know... Like, for like a small game, I feel like it benefits from, like, at least somebody being capable of getting world... And there was a tiny bit of competition in the sense that, like, Ooster was getting on, like, these, like, small world record paces out of, like, Rock Slide and Outherman. There was one run he had, I think going into either Dennis 2 or Gesk 2, that was, like, not super realistically on world record pace, but it was just, like, if he keeps playing this good, he can get world record by, like, a couple seconds, you know, like... But like maybe like 5 seconds. So if you want to count that, then there has been world record competition since, but I'm talking like in the way that me, Chris, and Tedious were all like completely capable of it. We don't need god runs, we just need like good solid runs. Like, you know, that 2018 is the last time that we've had like proper world record competition. But yeah, and then on the 16th of 2018 of July, so almost, maybe I should have recorded this like next week or the week at, like just whenever the 16th is, but yeah, 9 days from now. Yeah, I actually would have been able to as well, I think, but oh well. But yeah, it's almost the 7-year anniversary of this time. I remember when it was like a year old, I remember when it was 2 years old, etc. So, yeah, again, like... The standards were much lower back then, you gotta keep that in mind. My aspect ratio was really bad because 360 widescreen shenanigans. Because on PAL on PAL 360, you can't, like... You need to use composite cables to, like, force it. I don't know if that's the case on NTSC, but I'm pretty, like, at least with PAL ones, like, you need composite. But yeah, so I'm just like, I was just setting everything up. So again, in the span of like 16 days, I improved a lot. I feel like the mental barrier was finally gone and I was able to just like become the best player I could be. And this run was fucking crazy at the time, as you'll see, or as I'll at least try and describe. The sub isn't fully like optimized because again, I only had it for like 15 days. But obviously, again, I broke through the barrier. I guarantee you most of those golds, like, would have been golds anyway, even with the old splitting. So I was kind of, like, the person in the community, like, after the fact that kind of, like, normalized, like, splitting on load. I wasn't the first person, I believe Britt was, but, yeah, I was, like, the first, like, I feel like after I did it, people realized, like, oh, yeah, this actually, like, makes sense. But, yeah. So you can see attempt count, 3,300, we were, like, super-duper reset Andes. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm analyzing this run and not the 1:30:25, because you'll actually be able to, like, see the segment times and be able to, like, understand what's going on, because I split on load. But yeah, especially because I've been talking for so long, I should just have this on 2x speed. But yeah, again, disadvantaged in a lot of ways, like, I think that load was about the same speed as I get on fucking NTSC OG, and keep in mind the 360 has faster loads. And my OG is like this, again, if this was an NTSC 360, it would have, like, probably the fastest loads in the community. Because it's one of the fastest 360s anyway. And my OG is just, like, wholly average. It's just super average loads, which is completely fine, but yeah, like, that's literally just... And they still are roughly the same, like, speed. Pretty much the same speed. Wow, I was not spinning this. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Everybody fucking spins. Some people still do, and it's just like, bruh. But yeah, you can even see them taking, like, some pretty okay lines, even now. I definitely had the best movement back then. Because here's the thing, right? Because I'm a PAL player, or because I was a PAL player, you were significantly disadvantaged in battle, and apparently in movie, not to the same extent, and we didn't know, but... Like, in battle, one of the reasons why I stopped was because I was, like, 15th or 12th, or, I don't know, I was, like, in the top, like, teens, right? Like, it was, like, 15 at worst, but... The person who was above me was, like, literally, like, a minute and a half ahead of me. And if I was on NTSCOG, I would have had a chance. But, like, their run was about what my sum of best was. And I literally, like, I could not compete. Especially back then when the standards are lower and you just don't physically see the time save. I have saliva in my fucking mouth. But yeah, you don't physically, like, see the time save. That's discouraging, like, and you know you're getting fucked over. And back then, we didn't even know the pallet's slower loads. So, like, I was losing, like... I forget how much, like, Peer Boost loses, but it's gotta be, like, 40 seconds or some shit, or maybe even more. And then from Pallet's probably losing, like, 20 seconds. So it was just, like, I didn't even have a chance. So it was just really discouraging. And we didn't know the palette disadvantages, like, on here. Although even then, they weren't to the same extent. Obviously, Battle has, like, that tower glide thing now. I hear that it's completely fine on palette, but even then, I have a soft-modded Xbox, so it doesn't matter anyway. I can just do the fucking, you know, NTSC shit. I mean, I have an NTSC disc, but, yeah. So, yeah, I think you can tell, like, my lines are, like, not bad. This is way before the flower jump, which saves, like, 1/4 of a second. But yeah, again, my lines aren't, like, great, but they're not bad, you know? Like, I feel like this movement's still pretty okay. Like, even by today's standards, it's, like, not that bad. I was panning the camera down, even back in 2018. Dude, these lines aren't that bad. Like, I'm still adjusting a lot, but, like, I have the right idea. Okay, getting this one frame was, like, it was just almost never happening. You just had to accept that just, like, that shit was not happening. Because, like... It is, like, one of the hardest ones in the game, because it is a 1 frame and not a 2 frame. And back then, we weren't risking, like, 2 frames past, like, 3K, unless the run was bad, but, like... Still, like, this has, like, an abysmal visual cue, and it's a 1 frame. And it's one of the more hefty token frame time saves as well, because it saves, like, 8.5 compared to, like, 5-ish, like, 5 to 6. Like a lot of them have. So yeah, 116, incredibly average, with, like, a 108.3 gold. Like, yeah, it's not surprising. Oh, yeah, we used to, like... Oh, yeah, by the way, I will say, this run was, like, kind of below average out of Rock Slide. And I will say as well, I remember Mannix got back into the game at some point, and he had a run that was... It was, like, 20 seconds ahead of the world record, or, you know, 15 to 20 seconds ahead, going into Now That We're Men. He was on fucking... He had a fucking B-Drive PAL Xbox, so it had, like... At the time in the community, like, barely the fastest loads, which isn't a huge thing, but also the fastest driving. But then again, you know, harder controller to 2-frame tokens on, but yeah, like, he, you know... But he still would have been ahead of me anyway. Again, the run was, like, for my standards at the time, it was a little below average going into Now That We're Men, but it really popped off from Now That We're Men onwards. But yeah, a lot of people still do that to this day, where they, like, jump backwards and jump forward, is to avoid the ledge grab, but you know, and then I accidentally ledge grabbed. I remember having, like, a negative reaction to that. But yeah, just Creek. Depression hasn't really changed since, like, 2016. Like, whenever it was where I discovered that if you don't get the 2-frame for Creek, it's still faster to load the Creek instead of dying if you load it. Like, I found that in, like, 2017 or 2018, but, like, that's hardly anything. Especially because that's just, like, frames of time save. But, like... Yeah, like, assuming... Like, if you want to count that, then yeah, sure, but if you don't want to count that, then literally nothing has been found since... Like, way back in the day, like 2014 or 13. But again, my lines are, like, pretty alright. I was still using a 360 controller back then, obviously. I still... Holy, this Marshmallow Cycle is fucking bad. And yep, my golden rule... was that I had to get 2 of the 3 token frames at the beginning. Because I know I didn't need it for 129, but again, mentality, and I was like, oh, well, a perfect run would be, like, a perfect-ish run. Not literally perfect, but, you know, it's perfect by our standards, would be, like, mid-129. So therefore, Like, I need, like, because early game is so early in, I need that leniency, because, you know, now the men and everything is so hard, like, you need that leniency going in, again, like, the mentality and everything. So, my rule, generally, was that I needed to get, like, 2 of the 3 token frames, or else I'd reset. So I missed the no-cheese one, so I had to get both of the token frames in depression, was my rule. But yeah, like, hugging that fucking spawner too much, so I bled frames, like, hugging the wall there, so I bled frames. Bad line to the button, bled frames. Okay, that fogger kind of fucked me, to be honest. But, yeah. We didn't even need the manlies back then, dude. Like, again, like, you know, even the manly management wasn't great. We were actually worried about running out of man, because of BBBH backwards, we were like, oh no, we're not gonna have enough, we might not have enough for, to not do toilet skip. Which is funny, because now you can't even get enough for fucking bowl and now that we're men, if you do BBBH backwards, which is just, like, crazy. But yeah, I got both token frames, so I'm continuing the run. Bro, what the fuck was I doing just then? God damn. Although I got to first try, like, cone jump and the final jump, so it's whatever. At the time, you know, I mean, that's honestly not good for getting both token frames, but obviously it's better than not getting them, so I was like, okay. And again, oh yeah, you gotta see the fucking PAL 360 driving, bro. You're probably used to NTSC OG, or, you know, maybe, like, NTSC GameCube if you played on Dolphin. Watch this, watch this. I put her on 1 speed, watch this. Yeah, and it was always like, oh my god, Pibble has, like, the worst driving out of, like, Chris, Tidius, and Pibble. Like, he has, like, the worst, like, no. I was literally fucking sabotaged, man. Actually sabotaged. You know how fucking soul-sucking it is? Like, if I put it at, like, 1.25 times speed, I bet it'll feel, like, roughly normal. Yeah, that's just, like, fucking, like, NTSC GameCube speed, probably. Like, bruh. But, like, look at this shit. It literally looks like 80% speed. And this is what I was dealing with. It's like, oh yeah, Pibble's bad at driving. Like, bruh. The longer you have to spend in the sandwich, the worst. The worse. This is still back in the days of, like, sliding and driving. I should kill myself. Speaking of kill myself. Again, this run was just, like, not it. But again, like, a lot of the run was just, like, not missing the big stuff and a bunch of token frames. Like, that was, like, the run, you know what I mean? Like, these little mistakes were fine. They were pretty negligible. But that's why the run was below average going into Now That We're Men, was just because of, like, that. I think. I don't think I missed any 2 frames, like, before Now That We're Men, but we'll see. I did react to this run, by the way, on stream. It was either 2020 or 2021. Like, late 2020 to early 2021. But the thing is that, like, I wasn't really... Like, I had to rush it a bit because I was streaming, and obviously it's been so much longer since then. Even though the run has stabilized since, like, 2020, like... Well, I say that, we reverted the fucking route. But other than that, it's, like, pretty stabilized. Like, I don't know. Like, a lot happened between, like, 2019 to 2020 in this game. It feels like more happened compared to 21 to now, even though it's not really true because of Robodov skip and sandwich out of bounds. Yeah, speaking of no sandwich out of bounds, if that existed back then, dude, we would have been... Like, keep in mind how badly we were resetting, and, like, here's the thing, right? I don't think we were ready for, like, the, like, certain tricks, like, fast corkscrew existed at the time, but it was considered, like, task because we didn't understand it. We thought we, like, weren't making the cycle in time, when it turns out we were making the cycle in time, and then just... We didn't know that, so... Because we thought, like, oh my god, Cole's like a god, so he's got, like, perfect movement, you know, But no, he, like, in his video, I think he, like, made the cycle, like, on time, like, exactly on time, but we were making it, like, too early, so we were like, nah, it's too fucking hard. Because we thought we were making it late. But yeah, like, what was I saying? Oh yeah, like, I don't think, because we were so fucking bad back then, I don't think we could have handled sandwich out of bounds. Especially fast, like, that would have been, but even bulldozer, I feel like that would have been a lot. Like, especially because it's in SD102 as well, I feel like that would have been too much with the token frames. I'm so glad it didn't exist back then, I don't think we could have mentally handled it. Like, we weren't ready, bro. So this is an incredibly fucking standard sandwich driving for back in the day. Even, like, fairly standard now. There's just gonna be, like, one key thing that's gonna be off. We didn't know the right side was faster, but even then we knew that nitroing through the thingy was, like, so it's very even to this day, this is, like, a pretty standard sandwich driving. Yeah, 306, because I'm, obviously, you know, got fucked. Which is funny, because, like, on, like, my gold before Sandwich Out of Bounds got found on NTSCOG. Obviously, I got a bit better at driving anyway, but yeah, my gold was a 259, so yeah, it just shows you. I did bonk to be. It would have been like 304, but yeah. But this run is like, you know, if I recall correctly, just being like even going into 3K was like completely acceptable. Look at these, I had 2 splits for 3K, which is, I remember that. Oh my god, that fucking line, bro. Okay, so, like, the further in, generally, the further in you go into the run, like, the less refined the movement, because, again, it was just fucking depression hell. And then afterwards, now that we're men hell. So we were literally just, like, the lines were worse in certain level, like 3K. I remember Knucklehead, dude. Our Knuckleheads was so fucking, like, generic, like, hardly taking any good lines, because nobody practiced it. It was literally just like, oh yeah, like, the run is basically secured, it's just Neptune now. Like, so it's just like, but you don't realize that, like, we were hardly cutting corners back then. Again, you'll see, especially in, like, Rock Slide, but, like, we weren't, like, cutting fucking corners very much. It's like, oh, it probably doesn't save anything, bro. It probably, like, cuts your speed if you jump or whatever. It's like, dude, we were so fucking stupid. Again, like, I mean, every game, like, nearly every game is, like, easy. Like, it's so easy to look back and just think, like, how were we this fucking bad or, like, unknowledgeable? But it's literally just how it is with most speed games. Think about how drastically, like, even games like Super Mario 64, like, think about how much the standards have changed, even though some stars are approached in effectively the same way. Just cutting the corners better and, like, having lag reduction and just stuff like that. Like, I'm not even talking about carpet, it's just, like, stuff in general, just, like, basic shit. But obviously Battles had an insane transformation. Yeah, some games haven't changed that much, but even, like, movie, like, standards, like, that's like what it comes down to, you know? And the mental barrier. Like, for example, because my world record now is a 1:19:27, I believe, if anybody tries to go for that time, like, they know what is possible. They know that 1:19:27 is possible because I've gone it. So it's like, I've said this before in a few videos, but, like, the world record holder, like, basically always has it the worst, because whoever's in second will, like, pretty much always have to put in, like, they will almost always have to put in less hours to get Recce because of the mental thing, and, like, there being less strats when you were the world record holder, like, and then they, you know, like, whenever somebody who's, like, the second best, like, whenever they take over and they bop you, it's usually not initially because they're a better player, it's because there's more strats and the mental thing is, the mental barrier's gone. Mental, like, I feel like the most underrated, like, asset to have in speedrunning is a good mentality, which I know is rich coming from me, but what I mean is that, like, in terms of, like, feeling like what you're capable of doing, if you're, like, too harsh, you'll just be like, yeah, this run fucking sucks, you'll never be happy, and then, you know, but it's also, like, I don't know, like, it's hard to explain, but again, the world record holder, like, basically always has it the worst. Like, if the world record holder had to put, like, 5,000 hours in to become world record holder, if somebody joins the community, like, way later on, it will not take them 5,000 hours, it'll take them, like, fucking 3,000 or something. That's just how it always is, pretty much. But yeah. Anyway, look how bad this line is. Like, when you, again, like, when you start correcting your movement, like, everybody else starts doing it, and it's like, you know, again, the mental thing. Yeah, that line was so fucking bad, and, this was obviously years before we knew that you could just do, like, a better turn here to save a quarter of a second, so, like, this whole, I'm probably, unironically, like, that whole thing, I'm probably losing, like, a second compared to today's standards. Again, it's just, like, bruh. Unnecessary spin, I think? Yeah, it was fine. Oh, yeah, I was doing fucking... Okay, I think right gang didn't exist back then, and I was bad at left gang is not hard, but it is way harder than right gang. I don't know. Hardly anybody does left gang, but yeah. So Bash Gang loses like 2 seconds, so that's one of the things that I was losing time over Chris and Tedious. I should have been going for Left Gang, especially because, like, if you miss it, you lose like a second and a half, so it's like worth it. I was just being a bitch. But yeah. But again, like, consistency is sometimes what you need. Bruh, I fucking spun the Fogger, that's funny. I didn't lose that much time, but that's still, like, that's kind of funny. Bounceless didn't exist back then, it existed since 2019. That has to be, like, some assumed lag reduction. I must have just been like, oh, it feels laggy, I'm gonna pan the camera down, that's the only thing I can think of. It was good to, like, hit that spawner back in the day, like, pre-bounceless, because you barely lose frames from, like, doing that. And yeah, because of no bounceless, we just do SpongeBob immediately. I was bad back then, so you'll see that I don't get the fast cycle. I think Chris and Tedious, I'm not sure about Tedious, but I'm pretty sure Chris was getting the fast cycle, so that's another 2 seconds lost. Oh, wait, I got it, but, oh, I remember what happened. I'd always, wait, what? This looks like the fast cycle. Oh, I would take a fucking wide turn here because I was stupid. Maybe I was taking it because that line, this line is a little shaky. I should have gone more like this way. So maybe I was building just enough frames to be on an inconvenient cycle when I turned the corner, so I had to do a wider turn. Okay, so I wasn't losing quite the 2 seconds, but this is still like... Okay, never mind. Maybe I did lose 2 seconds. Yeah, that was fucking stupid. You know what's funny? After I was done with movie, I came back to battle again for months, and then hand stuff happened. But when I came back to, or when I was trying to get back into movie, like, slowly, because I still had the hand pain at the time, I was, like... I just, like, I was trying to do, like, a segmented run, because, like, the world record still had, like... Here's the thing. From, when I got this run, do you want to know the next time somebody got a world record was, right? It was, like... I think it was, like, really late December. It might have been January, but it was either, like, really late December or really early January, and it was by me, and it was by 2 seconds. Where I lost, like, a minute in floating block. But yeah, like, when I was, like, doing the segmented stuff, like, a couple months prior, I abandoned the project because I was too much of a perfectionist, but it was like, oh, if you can see a visible mistake, then it's not any good, but it's just, that's just how it is, bro. Especially because it was on pace to still be, like, a 126 or 125 or something, like, that still would have been interesting, but yeah. Like, I literally tried this level, like, once, and I feel like, well, Battle SpongeBob is, like, a little different, but yeah, I feel like just, like, I don't know, my mental might have changed or something, and maybe Battle maybe slightly better movement just by association. I don't know how to explain it, but I literally, like, again, my hands were still hurting, but I tried it literally once, and I got the fast cycle after not playing the game for ages, like, and I was just like, bruh. So then I was like, oh, I wonder if PAL has slower movement, but other than sandwich driving, it doesn't, so I don't know, it was just bad. But yeah, I got the 2-frame, again, in 3K, you just risk it, you know, because it's fucking 3K. Oh yeah, Bungie. So, Bungie was, Bungie, as you probably know, Bungie was early in the run, then we moved it to a bit later in the run, but very recently it got brought back. Not only because of, like, a bounceless alternate, like, if you miss bounceless, like, a fast backup was found, so you don't lose as much time. But then 3K token deaths got found, which obsoleted the bounceless backup, because then you can't do the token deaths, it's kind of weird. How it works, because then you have to do Bungie. No, you have to do Steamed before Bungie, or else you lose a bunch of times, is a bit fucked. But yeah, because of the token deaths, like, 3K Bungie is right back in the early game again, but that was, like, again, that was very recent, like a month ago, or 2. Oh yeah, I said oh yeah, I meant oh yeah. So, it was technically known that you could dive under the, that you didn't have to dive under the target, because this was just like a second and a half, maybe a second. The person who found it, we thought that they were a fucking cheater, and, or, I mean, we didn't know that, like, we didn't, like, check his run. Again, it's like a whole, I have a video on it, but, yeah, we thought, myself very much included, that we thought he was a fucking cheater, and we just, like, didn't look at his run, you know, just discredit everything, so we didn't even, like, check this fucking 3K Bungie, so just, yeah. And then it finally got found in, like, 2021 or some shit. Yeah, we didn't know about, like, avoiding springy legs. I think I was, like... I didn't often, like, 2-frame the Bungie token here. I know for Nathom and Bungie, I wasn't convinced that it saved time, so I, like, never went for the Nathom and Bungie 2-frame. But I think I sometimes went for the... like, I probably went for it here and just missed it. I wouldn't be surprised, because I feel like I usually went for it. Trampoline and well, other than no cheese, like, trampoline and bungee 2 frames are, like, the easiest, because the only input is start. You know, you're not moving towards it and like, you know what I mean? Like, and then the visual cue is, like, the same every time. You're not approaching it with, like, a weird angle, you know, that kind of thing. And you just, like, anticipate the start input. But it saves, like, 1.8 seconds or something, which is about how much the bungee one saves in fucking Now That We're Men. But yeah, I didn't know that at the time. And I got springy legs, which hardly loses anything, but yeah. But you'll see, though, there are like, 2 spots in the run where I still split on token touch, and this is one of them. Because 609, like, that's kind of long, so I was like, okay, I'll do 2 splits. I did eventually change it back to 1, like, pretty quickly after Bounceless got found. Actually, I don't know if I did immediately, but I know I did, like, pretty early into, like, 2020. That was kind of a bad line. You know, fun fact about Steam, like, it wasn't known to, like... we thought it didn't save time on... Well, Cole thought it didn't save time on GameCube, but then again, we didn't time shit, but... Turns out it did save a bit, but might not have been worth it back then. But yeah, like, as soon as we switched to Xbox, it was like, alright, yeah, we should probably be doing this, because... But back then, we thought it saved, like, 18, 20 seconds or something. Dude, it saves, like, 25 plus. It might even be more than that. I mean, especially now with the token deaths, it saves even more, but, like... Actually, I think you could do the token death, but, like, if you're not good enough to do Steamed early, you're not doing the fucking token death. Like, let's be real. Again, so a little bit of unnecessary spinning. This was, like... Okay, so this was found, like, a couple years ago, maybe a year ago. If you have, like, here's the thing, because I have SpongeBob facing away from the box... Oh, never mind. Okay, I thought I was going through the box. I forgot. Yeah, that was my bad. So... But I guess it's still kind of... I wouldn't be surprised if it still comes up at some point, but... You want SpongeBob, like, facing to the side, or, like, if you're gonna do this, then, or, like, towards the box, like... Like, the camera angled in a way, because otherwise... Because SpongeBob turning around loses frames. I would have lost, like, 4 frames or something like that if I, like, fully turned around, because his turn is slightly slow. But yeah, it didn't matter, You know what's funny? I still do this camera turn, but I actually think it's better to turn the camera, like, the other way, to turn it the opposite way, because you don't have to turn it as much. But I still do it this way out of habit, because it's not hard, it's just, like, you know... You don't have to jump on the pad, but you can jump on it from... I've already noted so much, we're 11 minutes in. But yeah, like, it's hard to give, like, a visual indication, but... You do want to, like, walk a little further, because it's, like, here or something, but you want to walk a little further, or else it might not update your position, so, yeah, but I wasted probably, like, half a second there. Oh, yeah, again, this is, like, another one of those things. Where it's just, like, I was taking this line, I could, like, again, it's only losing frames, but how many times have I lost frames already, you know what I mean? It doesn't help them on PAL 360, I'm just making it worse by, like, not doing these, like, little time saves. But, yeah. Alright, so here's a... Okay. So, first of all, this is 3K floating block late, as you all know. But, I'm doing it now. We hadn't realized that the 3K... Because the 3K fade out is fast. So, if you warp to floating block now, you don't get the fast fade out, which means that you lose a second, just automatically. However, at the time, I still think it would have been justifiable to do it now. But I know I wouldn't have. If I knew that it lost, like, a second, I know I fucking wouldn't have done it now. Because we'll get to that later, because there is something disgusting in SCDA that you need to see. But for now, yeah, so we didn't know. But it's a good thing that we do it now, because, again, unbuffered. And otherwise, the only other like, because of the knowledge at the time, I would have been doing it after Weenie, which is just kind of, like, that's really late, you know what I mean? But yeah. So we have 3K floating block late, which at the time, this was known as Task Route, because there were 2 places, and if you were doing the one, you're probably doing both. But yeah, it's known as Task Route. I think it saves, like 12 seconds or something, but again, because of the way that I'm doing it, saving, like, you know, like 11 or 10. I don't remember exactly how much it saves, because there's just no reason for me to not do it now. But this was risky. I was the only person doing it, and I added it after the 1:30:25, so... The reason why it was called Task Route is because the idea behind it was like, oh, you're not risking the 2 frame on this, so therefore it's a token 1 frame and not a 2 frame, therefore... it's a 1-frame, so it's a task. Like, I know it's a stupid name, but, like, you know, I didn't want to call it, like... Here's the thing, right? When it was realized that we could do this stuff, nobody was doing it. So it was like, oh, it's again, standard, so it was, oh, it's task only. Not literally, but you know what I mean? Because we weren't doing it, and then I started doing it, and task route just sounds good to say. It's like, oh, floating block late. Especially because it doesn't specify that it also includes SCDA, and now the floating block is not late, it's just done at the same time. So it was just kind of like a weird, like, we didn't know what to call it. So it's just like, okay, yeah, it just stuck. The name's stuck, just call it task route, even though it's a stupid name, but it's just, you know, it makes sense, like, with a, well, it doesn't make sense, but it makes more sense with some context. I think we knew about the, no, surely we couldn't have known about the cartwheel buffer, or else I would have gone for it, right? I don't know. I feel like we would have, I don't know, I feel like I would have gone for it if we knew. To this day, I still, dude, it still annoys me how fucking everyone does like a wide turn. That's not fast. Like, you see how wide this turn, like, no. Like, yeah, you cartwheel for longer, but like, look. Like, by the time I'm, like here, you'd be like here. And then my line is still good. It's like, bruh. Like, there's no, like, I'm still, like, without even timing it, I'm 100% positive that the line that I take is faster. But, and that's the way I teach it in the tutorials. And yet, for some reason, everybody fucking goes wide. And it's just like, what are you doing? But yeah, the cycle actually looks pretty standard, other than obviously just, like, slight, like, just worse movement. Yeah, that was, like, I touched that at, like, barely 337. I think I get, like, low 338s or something now. It's hard to remember, but... yeah, this is gonna be like effectively the same cycle, but just like a little slower. But like the idea's there. So yeah, 3K floating block hasn't really changed. I can't wait for somebody to find a faster cycle here in like a year, and it's like, how the fuck did we not realize? Watch it be like really hard. But yeah, okay, watch this now, right? I'll put it in 1x speed. The hesitation, dude, the hesitation. But, like, I'm surprised I went for that, because to me, that low-key doesn't look like it worked. But again, it's like, oh, I don't want to lose too much time. But it's like, if that happened to me now, I probably would have unpaused, which obviously would have meant the end of the run. So doing this, like, again, especially, again, you need to remember how fucking bad No Cheese and especially Creek were. And the standards back then, and then missing this was fucking... Like, there were times... Even back in even like before adding these, where I would like just it would take ages to get past rubber dub, because again, standards, dumb jump was considered like a little hard. So it's just like, yeah. But yeah, rubber dub isn't gonna really be like particularly interesting. Like the sliding and driving, well, driving's more interesting. But yeah, you'll just see like the lack of corner cuts. I haven't seen dumb jump in a while. It kind of sucks that you can't do, like, if you do, holy fuck. Anyway, it kind of sucks, like, if you do rubber dub skip, you have literally no reason to do dumb jump ever again. I was just doing it for the tutorial. There was also, like, the really rare stream every several months where I would just do it once for fun, but, you know. I do kind of miss the trick, because it's just nostalgic, you know. I've been doing it since 2016. I remember when I used to miss it all the time, and I was like, oh my god, the trick is so hard. Like, we used to think that trick was hard as fuck, dude. Like, okay, we weren't quite this bad back then, but, like, when Cole was playing... He had a split for backtracking, and it was called Task Strats, right? And it had the 30 FPS guess jumps, but okay, the 1 frames, you know, standard is fair enough. He also had Rubber Dub 2 in those splits, and it was just like 2 dumb jumps. It was like Task Strats. It's like, yeah. Which is fun, dude. And that's another thing. Even in 2018, I don't think we could have handled Rubber Dub Skip. I think we would have fucking shot ourselves. I don't think we could have handled it, dude. I think we would have been, like, so fucked if that shit got found. Which we try to find it every now and then, but we were bad. But yeah, if it got found, especially if we didn't find a decent setup for it, dude, that could have killed the game. Like, genuinely could have killed the game. But yeah, like, look at that disgusting, like... Again, it's like you don't realize how much it loses, but again, instead of going this way, I'm going this way. So by the time I'm here, I'd probably be like here from taking the... And again, it's just like, it's so many, like, I don't need the manlies, bro. I do fucking toilet skip. It's like, I don't need the manlies. But anyway, here's dumb jump. Yeah, it was a pretty good attempt. That was not a good reaction to getting it. You can cut the corner here, but it is unironically hard. Like, the way that it, like, updates your position is, like, fucked, so it's, like, a little hard. But you can cut the corner here. I wasn't doing that. Okay, that was some fucking invisible collision. That wasn't my fault. And then you can cut the corner here, but again, it's a bit fucky. And of course, we knew about this jump. Let's see if I got the 1 frame turnaround. I do not, but that's, like, that's standard. That's fine. And I actually avoided the fog is pretty good. So let's just skip forward a bit, because I'm 50 minutes into the video, but I'm 15 minutes into the fucking thing. But yeah, this is incredibly standard. Let's see how tight I take this turn, actually. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. And we didn't know that you didn't have to, like, jump on the trampoline, so... Yeah. So, BBBH. Again, BBBH backwards, so all we're doing here is the jumps. I was probably the best of the jumps. Oh yeah, this is a common, like, 360 visual glitch. You'll just, like, upgrade, and then it'll just play, like a previous FMV. It's so fucking weird. I was probably the best at the jumps, and to this day, I'm still adamant about single jumping up the slide being better for consistency, because the rhythm is what matters. You'll be in a position with like, obviously, it's 2 frames. One of them only gives you the single jump, and the other one gives you, like, both jumps. Well, one of them gives you only the double jump, but it's just easier to say, you know, single and double jump. But... like, because you need to, like, otherwise you might not be prepared for that. Like, you need to, like, the best way to get consistent at this is to turn your brain off. Or, the ability to turn your brain off means that you're good at the trick, you know? And I definitely, especially because I was playing at 50 FPS instead of 60, which made it, that wasn't a huge difference, but when you're doing, at least in 3 meter, as many jumps as that, like, it will matter a little bit, so I did have a small advantage there, even though it's not like, if it was 60, I would have fucking choked 3 meters so bad that I wouldn't have gone 129, you know what I mean? But, yeah. So... yeah, literally, like, perfect. I could have reacted to, like, hitting the trigger a tiny bit faster, but the actual jumps were perfect. And what do you know, I single jumped up the slide, because I'm a goat. But yeah, that was just, like, exactly what you would expect. And a gold, too. It was pretty good. That, like, even by today's standards, that's, like, pretty good. You do not want to get damaged there. You have to slightly turn left. It is, like, objectively better to do it on lap 2. And again, I don't even need the manlies anyway. It is crazy, like, how many manlies we had back. Like, rubber-dub gives you a bit from not doing rubber-dub skip. But, like, again, it was because I missed a couple enemies and stuff. But it was just fucking crazy. One time in this category, I had a run that was 1 manliness point short away from upgrading Slam by the end of Weenie. And that's before the backtracking. Like... again, it's just crazy. Just getting these fucking boxes and shit I don't need. This was before Conquer 2 Key. That got found in, like, 2019 or something. Maybe late 2018? It seems like 2.5 seconds. Oh yeah, the nitro management's probably gonna fucking suck again. We're just bad. Yep, that nitro is not fast, especially with, like, a wide turn like that. Bonked on the fucking side of the thing. Bad. There's no reason not to take that on lap 1, bonk. Okay, yeah, maybe I could have nitroed a teeny bit later there, but I guess that's fine. Should have gone through the oil. You want to go through the oil on laps 1 and 2. Not nitroing. Although, to be fair, because I'm on PAL 360, I don't know if, like, how much better it'd be to, like, nitro on the ramp, but I don't know. Oh my god, okay. On NTSC GameCube, you literally have to nitro there, if I recall correctly. Maybe even PAL GameCube is hard to remember, but yeah, PAL 360, literally just, like, you just hold A, and it works. That was a bad nitro. That was a bad nitro. That was a bad nitro. And that was a fine nitro. At least we knew about having 0. Like, oh, that was bad as well, yeah. And why did I turn there as well? That was a fucking bad weenie. 246. I don't know what I get now. Obviously, it'd be hard to tell exactly because, you know, 360, but yeah. It would be, like, it'd be kind of... I did do, like, a run, like, a couple years ago that was just, like, I try to copy the 129.07 route the best I could. But, like, when you're not used to it, like, it's just... on 360 as well, like, you know. But if I was, like, fully used to it, it would just be funny to see what kind of segments I could get now on, like, that exact Xbox with the... I think I might have still... I think I have the exact disc still. But, yeah. Oh, there's, like... 360 tends to crash more, by the way, but we were also getting, like, accidental ball storage crashes before knowing what it was, and some of those times, I went through 4 fucking discs, because I mean, it was kind of, like, weird. Kept crashing and, like, rub-a-dub and stuff, but some of them were actually just bad luck, and you can either fix it by getting a different disc or getting a different Xbox. I need to complain. I know this video is gonna be really long, but I need to complain about this, dude. One of my discs would always crash an SCDA in 3-meter unless I got the sand tube texture glitch, which is the most common texture glitch on 360 for movie. If I got that, no crash. If I didn't get that, crash. But it was also, like, happening more often than it should have been. But it also had a small chance of crashing on any SCDA load, and one time I was on, like, 135 pace or something. I was on a really good run, and it fucking crashed in floating block. And then, I had a disc that would always crash in BBBH and Weenie, specifically, but only on a save file. So I couldn't fucking practice. I couldn't practice, what's it called? I couldn't practice slide jumps. Like, that's fucking stupid. Oh yeah, another thing as well. There's this thing in Weenie called 4th lap glitch, where you just, like, we thought it was a glitch, where you just, like, go over the fucking trigger. Because you have so much height. It's, like, not really possible on NTSC, but on PAL, it is. And, I was going over it over and over and over and over again without knowing what... I remember one time I had 7 runs die in a row. Not literally, but, like, the 7 runs that got to Weenie in a row, they all died in Weenie from 4th lap glitch, and we didn't know about the backup. So... yeah, also one time in 2019 when I was, like, trying to come back to the game, you know, like, it was like, oh, like, I tried, like... because a doctor recommended, like, I get back into gaming, but I have, like, a timer, so I can only play for 20 minutes a week, and then 30, then 40, you know, build it up, like, the muscles and everything. I was playing a bit of Frogfish, and I literally, like, would have gotten world record. Like, I would have gotten world record. I went over the final Weenie key, and I'm literally the only person in the game's history to go over that key. I must have literally gone over it by, like, a pixel. I must have had, like, the most perfect nitro usage imaginable for that. So, yeah, and then I lost, like, 7 seconds or something to that, and then I missed world record by, like, 3 seconds or some shit. I was like, bro, fuck off. But yeah, that's just another way, like... You know what's funny, though, is that I think the reason why I was doing that key path... It was probably... I don't know for a fact, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, oh, if you take the ramp on lap 2, you are less likely to get 4th lap. It's probably something like that. Which is really funny, because it's not true at all. But yeah, also, after, originally we were doing a Rub-a-Dub 2, like, we'd load into BBBH and then, like, immediately go back to Rub-a-Dub. But then Mannix was doing a run, and he realized, because he forgot to do Rub-a-Dub, because he only just came back to the run recently. So he did it, like, after grabbing the final Weenie key, and so he accidentally found the time save, and then he fucking matched... This is when I had a 133.02, but he got a 133.02, not just because he was on Xbox, you know, had slightly faster loads than me anyway, and had the faster driving, but also because he accidentally found a time save in the middle of the run. So yeah, that's... Like, from there, like, other than, like, the task route stuff, like, the run, like, very much stabilized, but yeah. So, it's just gonna be, like, the same thing again. I don't really think we need to, like... I, like, barely made it. Let's see if I got the... Yeah, I got the 1 frame. Chris hosted my stream! How nice of him, bruv. Wait, what was that time? Dude, 2:0, like a mid to high 2:09, dude. Fucking hell, that's bad. I know the 1 frame turnaround was bad, but like, god damn. Okay, I actually remember, I think my gold, like before Rub-a-Dub skip, I think it was like 2:34. So like, yeah, a bit rough. I think back then, like yeah, because I called it actual torture, so, a very I hate to say it, but it was, like, kind of iconic just how awful the split was, because you didn't fucking do anything for 9 minutes. It was so bad. The people were doing it, like, before Now They Were Man, as in, like, they would lose they would waste an entire load and a clam animation talking to Mindy, and you get Mindy stare as well, like, on top of that, so you're losing, like, loads of fucking, like, I'm talking, like, and menuing, so, like, the whole thing was, like, I wouldn't be surprised if the total time loss was, like, let me think. Probably like 11 to 12 seconds, probably like 11 seconds or something. And people were still doing it before, like, just before Now That We're Men because it was so fucking bad. But the way that I saw it was like, well, Weenie improved things in that regard. Wait, did it? Yeah, it did, because... Wait, when were we doing the backtracking then beforehand? Oh, yeah, it's because we used to... It's because, we used to do BBBH4s, so we had the tokens to just, like, burn through, yeah. But we still needed sandwich driving. Oh yeah, because I think you either had to do it, like, at the time, I think you either had to do it at the end of 3K, or before, like, Now That We're Men. So people didn't want to do that before, like, disco skip and slide jumps and, you know, dumb jump and everything. We don't need to look at this, like, we really don't. Like, I just want to show, like... Bro. I just want to show the time I had at the end of the challenge, which I think was, like, a 2:36, apparently it was 2:35. And then again, oh, this is gonna be, like, a 2:34. That's actually pretty good, like, for PAL 360. When I came back to the game, I remember, like, I was going up against, like, a 9:16, and literally I was getting, I think, like, because I was saving so much time just playing on NTSC OG, like, I don't remember exactly, I think I had a sub-9 segment, it's hard to remember, like, exactly. But yeah, then Weenie 2 was part of the segment, for Frogfish. And we would just upgrade smash shit. We didn't know about, like, the fast, like, manip here. I mean, you know, hardly anybody does that anyway. Then we were standing here, which is not optimal. You want to go, like, over here. Even without the fast manip, like, the fast first manip, like, this is still slow. I'm standing... It doesn't really matter if I'm standing this far forward, actually. Yeah, it was good. And then I was standing too far back, but we didn't know that for a while. And again, just like, we just didn't know, like exactly how the spawn works, so just a lot of unnecessary time loss. But like, in general, that was like a fine Frogfish. Like, if you got that today, you wouldn't die, you know what I mean? A bad turn. Holy bad turn, bro. That literally lost like half a second from that. I wonder if I wanted the Manleys, I don't know. I could have jumped off of the left side of the eel, which would have saved, like, a little bit. And why didn't I hold left there? I was holding, like, fucking forward, I think. So bad, bro. Wide turn for some reason. What am I doing? Why? Why am I fucking... Bro? What am I doing? Again, this is what I'm talking about. Like, okay, yeah, I cut the corner there, but it's like... Again, we just didn't realize, like, how much time I was actually saving. I didn't cut the corner there. And again, like, the later in you get into the run, generally the worse it gets. Oh, this is the old one. This one loses, like, over a second. I don't remember, like... It's probably, like, 2 seconds compared to the modern one. It's so free, though. You just pass the, that light and then just hold right the entire time. It's so free. Oh, yeah, we also had bad Manly management. You want 3 health by now. But I was fucking stupid, so I didn't do that. And of course here, I don't think we knew about the super jump, because, like, did you see how, like, early my jump was? It's hard to know for sure, but I don't think we knew about the super jump. So again, like, did you see how early that was? Not cutting the corner there. Like, when I came back to movie in it was, like, super late 2019. It's hard to remember exactly, because I came back on the 15th, but then I passed out after streaming, went to the hospital, and then I couldn't play for a bit, and then, like, it was just like a whole, and then it was, like, around Christmas, so I wasn't streaming that much anyway, so it's, like, hard to remember exactly, but, it did not take, like, especially because, like, even just speed running a game, even if it was just battle, speed running a game more, just, I don't know, it's just, like, it's easier to get good at a speed game if you already have the experience of getting good at a speed game. And for movie standards back then, I was good, and then battle, I got, like, actually, like, I got good for the standards then. And then when I came back, and the standards had increased, like, a lot in battle and a little bit of movie. I was just golding, like, fucking everything, like, so fast. Like, especially in sliding and driving levels, because it was literally... Well, obviously in driving levels, but even just outside of that, it was just better nitro management, better, like, corner cutting. But yeah, particularly in the sliding levels as well. Like, that was... But yeah, didn't get that huge fucking TNT stack. It was fucking stupid. I don't need it, clearly. But again, I didn't need, like, a lot of those boxes and stuff early. I still would have, like, have enough for now that I'm in. Like, the management here was so bad. Like... Obviously, eventually it got to the point where we didn't have enough, but for a while, we were fine. Like, I remember getting, like, 3,200 into Now the Man back in, like, 2020 or 2021, and it was like, yeah, eventually we probably won't have enough, but for now, it's completely fine, so it just went to show, like... And again, like, that slower rock slide drop, the faster one, like, gives you free manlies, they're literally in your face, so, like, I think it loses time to avoid them, so that's another thing. What am I doing? Oh my god, I didn't get those fucking TNT. And then this is the flower gem, so losing a bunch of time. My gold now is like roughly like 335 or 336 or something. It's something like that. It's in the 330s, like mid to high 330s. Yeah. So again, like, this run wasn't crazy, like after the run, it was like, oh yeah, no, I could be like 10, 15 seconds ahead going in, but... Yeah, this run was kind of like average, maybe a little below average for my standards at this point, because I did a lot of I didn't make any major mistakes, but it was all just like little bonks and shit. The worst split of the run so far is probably sandwich driving. I mean, yeah, honestly, it might be sandwich driving, which is kind of crazy. And there's a texture glitch. Yeah, and 2 texture glitches back to back. But yeah. Now the Men was so... You have no idea how fucking hard Now the Men was back then. Like, for the standards. It was by far the hardest split in the run. But there was, like, this huge, like, thing about getting sub 5 Now the Men. No one ever did it until I did it in 2020. No one ever did it, even though we knew it was possible. Obviously, back then we used to split differently. We used to split on the rock slide finish line, because of course we did, and then we would split on the Now the Men end level token, like, token touch. So, it was a little harder to get it back then. Like, slightly. By like a second or two, but yeah, we knew it was possible, but you had to get like everything like nearly perfect was the problem, which, you know, the tunnel section is just weirdly hard, and then like, you know, Crit Skip is fine, but Monster Skip was considered hard back then, and then Floating Block Skip was floating, and then the 2-frame, you had to get the 2-frame, that was a problem. Nowadays, right, I think it's hard to remember, but I think the fastest Now the Men I've ever gone is like, I think it's like 4:22 or something, like 4:22-ish. So, yeah. And that's with buffers, like, slightly slowing shit down, like, a little bit. But yeah, this is actually looking like, again, this is what I mean, like, I expected this Now the Men to be a little better than, you know, what we've seen beforehand, just from, like, because it was, like, you really needed to start concentrating in Now the Men. You know, baby time is over. Although, obviously, you still have, like, the slightly suboptimal, like, wall jumps and, like, you know, the bad turn and everything. Not taking a great line. The old... Okay, so cutscene skip, like, the fast one was known, but I think only Mannix was risking that. He was also considered a player that was quite fast but inconsistent. So, yeah, I was doing that. This loses, like, 2 seconds, but Chris and Tedious were doing it like that, too, so it wasn't, like, a huge loss. But, again, in 2020 onwards, I was just adding, like, all this shit I wasn't doing before. We actually went back to killing the turret because, it has RNG. I don't know if it's 50-50, but it can, like, shoot you when you're on the... It can even shoot the box. Which, that's probably a manip, but, like, an accidental manip. But I think if your line is probably, like, too good or whatever, like, that's the thing. I don't know when the turret is activated, but it's probably, like, at the beginning of the level or close to it. But, yeah, it's just, like... It's not worth it to lose, like... To save, like, 0.8 seconds or 0.9... from, like, not just to, like, get fucked here, like a third of the time, or 25% of the time, something like that. So obviously this is way before Eel Ball. A matter of fact, we're doing it now. So the cycle is less predictable, because it's hard to get here, like, consistently at the same time every single time. Though I'm on a good cycle right now, like, especially for the time. But obviously then you can't do bungee ball, like, cause you don't fucking cycle. This is probably not even favorable bungee ball cycle. Oh, bro, what are you doing? Holy time loss. Lost like a second, probably like a second and a half. Although that was actually a good bungee, but again, like I didn't think it was faster 2-frame here. I don't know if Chris and Tedious were doing that, but yeah, that might be 2 seconds lost compared to them. I remember when Tedious made Run 1000 a no reset. And I remember him being in Now Man like on like a pretty good PB pace. I remember that, like just randomly just now. But yeah, this is again no spewer boost, bad line. And no fast lobster, so you're gonna see the ancient shit. Not just ancient, I'm talking super ancient. Watch this now. We thought he took 6 ball shots. It was just because the lobster has a 2-second timer per hit, and we didn't know that. And it got found on accident when I found fast lobster. It's like, it was just like, oh, doing it from a distance must like glitch it out and make it do more damage, but no, it was literally just because of the timer. We didn't know. And even then, I should have at least balled him, like, when I was walking up to him, but I wasn't, like, convinced. It was like, oh, yeah. Because, like, we would ball him, like, too fucking, like, soon the second time. It would still be within the 2-second timer, so it wouldn't read it. So we started to ball him. So it was like, you know, it was like, oh, if you do it here, it's like, it's always 6 times. It always just works, but it's just like, yeah. This tunnel is actually, like, really, really, really good for the standards. What am I doing? Okay, I kind of get hitting that one, but, like, what the fuck was up with hitting the second one, dude? I don't, like, what am I doing? Kill me. And the spin was unnecessary. Obviously, it was before Bash Gang, which was found in, like, 2021 or some shit. Oh my god, holy line. And then Chris skip, so before Quick Chris. Oh my god, like, could you take any longer setting that up? That's so bad. Oh my god. Yeah, so, I want to go into a little bit of lore about Monster Skip, right? This was considered quite hard at the time. I added this at, like, really low 133. It was, like, 133.08 or something. When I got that run, it was, like, really good. Like, I remember as well, I think I lost, like, 134 pace in playing, and I was like, oh my god, I'm, like, not literally never, but I'm not gonna get that pace again for such a long, you know, like, potentially, like, a month or 2 or 3. And then it was literally, like, I think it was either the next day or the day after, but I'm pretty sure it was the next day. The next day, I fucking got, like, a 133.08. And I was like, alright, I need to add, like, Monster Skip and stuff. I was doing this, like, really awful, like, I don't know what was wrong with me, dude, but I just, like, couldn't do Monster Skip. So I had to do this objectively harder and slower version of it that made it save, like, 12 instead of, like, 15, and it was undeniable. Like, you had to, like, damage boost yourself into the monster's mouth and then jump on top of his mouth, get damage on top of the mouth, and then jump to the fucking eyelash and then get damage again. Like, you had to, like, grab the patty in midair to, like, get back to 3 health and then go in the monster's mouth, and it was so fucking stupid. Yeah. And it was the dumbest thing ever, and it was objectively harder. I don't know what, I must have just had really bad angles when setting this up. But yeah, normally here now, I usually have the monster's mouth extend twice before jumping, but here I did it like 4 times. And this is before, I still pan the camera down. I'm still, some people do that, I'm a big fan of that. I do monster buffer here, but obviously that wasn't a thing. And again, what I was talking about earlier, if I moved the camera, I would have saved like a couple frames. And he has floating block skip. This killed so much. This is why you need the leniency, because obviously I can still like miss it once, you know? I can still miss it once. And watch this. Yeah, got a first try. So here's the thing, right? We used to do this, like, thing. We had a certain visual cue, or, I mean, an audio cue to, like, jump. And then we could just, like, when we touch the ground, we just, like, immediately cartwheel. I don't know why that was, like... Okay, here's more lore. I know this is just turning into the Purple Foundation show, but, like... I'm trying to give it, again, to give you an idea of what the times were like back then. I added this really early, because Even though I did monster skip at 133.08 and I did guest jumps at like 131, I think. Or maybe 132, but I think it was 131. I would do floating block skip on like bad runs. And when I had like a 139 or whatever, and then I had a bad run. I got this first try, I golded, and then I PB'd by like 10 seconds or whatever. So it was like, okay, I can either just like remove the gold and then just kind of like arbitrarily like figure out how I want to distribute the time save elsewhere, or I have to like just put up with it. I don't know why I couldn't have just got myself to, like, not do it. I think I was really adamant about having, like, an accurate sum of best. Which is funny, because some of my golds now do a couple strats I don't even do anymore. One of them got beaten because of the 3K stuff, but I still, like... My rubber dub golds still have, like, wood frame when I never go for that. In fact, I jump early, so I'm not even in a position to do wood frame, because that improves the overall consistency. So I can literally never gold those ever again, like, ever, unless we go to, like, hard drive or something. And then, or something else somehow gets found, even though there's, like, nothing that can get found for the rest of the level. Or, like, a faster rubber dub skip, but, like, no, we need the speed. And then, I have a rock slide gold that's, that misses one of the super jumps and skips a couple stacks, just as, you know, save frames. So that whole thing, like, I golded by, like, a second. I have, like, gone within, like, 0.7 or 6 of it before, so, like, I am capable of beating, not beating it, but, like, getting close, but, yeah. And then in Depression, my gold has no buffers. Even though I always buffer... if I come back, I might even stop buffering Krieg because of how much it improves the consistency. But even just, like, bounce. I've been, like, a few frames off the gold before, which means that if I just didn't buffer it, I would have gotten a 207, which is crazy, the thing about 207 Depression. Most people have, like, 210 to, like, or, like, 212 to, like, 216 or whatever, you know? So having, like, a 207 would be nuts. To be fair, having a 20, like, a really low 208 is cool, too, but, like, if I'm that close to 207, which I have been for years now, it's just, like, I don't know. But, yeah, it's not worth it to not buffer there, because it literally loses, like, 0.18, if I recall correctly. It's just, like, not worth it. Yeah, I would still need, like, a god-tier Depression to get, like, a 207. Or even the gold at all, honestly. Like, you can lose 0.2 just from, like, the cutscenes loading slowly. Like, or, like, slightly suboptimal menuing, you know, stuff like that. Like, not getting a perfect cone jump. Yeah. Anyway. I didn't understand floating block skip when I was doing it, so I was, like, cartwheeling into the wrong spikes, which would also, like, have, like, you know, give height issues as well. Buffering gives you more height, so that was, like, even though it wasn't hard, like, I still got the ledge. That was because my jump spacing was, like, literally perfect. I remember, like, panicking so hard. It was, dude, it was so fucking hard to, like, remember to go for the 2-frame when you were, like, when you got the trick, because you were just so happy you got the trick. It was only easy to remember if you didn't get it first try. And I remember, I think I tried to pause here, but yeah, I just fucking, I should have inched and just seen if I got it. This one saves, like, 10 seconds, and if I got it really fast, I could have potentially got 128, which we'll get into that later. This video is gonna be so long. I wanted to work on the tutorial today, but I think that this video is literally gonna be, like, I don't know if it'll be, like, 3 hours, or probably, like, 2.5 or something. Bowling that was so dumb. Why didn't, like, yeah, you get a slightly worse line if you spin it, but you don't literally, like, just stop in place, like, the ball. That was so stupid. That was dumb as hell. So, yeah, this might, I don't know for sure, but this might, oh, no, it wasn't the best. Well, it wasn't the best here monster I've had, obviously. This might, I don't know if this was the best Naldoman I ever got. At the time, maybe I got like a 502 or a 503 at some point, but it was, obviously it would have been one of the best. But again, I could have even made a couple tiny mistakes as long as I got that token, but like nobody ever got everything. None of us ever got all of the tricks first try at this point, because again, the standards were crazy low. Which again, like now the men is really hard now, even though like little has changed between like the beginning of the segment to like, until like, Eel Ball, like, nothing has really changed except for a harder cutscene skip, but it's just, like, you know... Even then, it can still be, like, weirdly hard. And we have SCDA. Also, now is a good time to, like, look at the sum of best, right? So I've lost 44 seconds. I've only got one thing. But 44, like, that means I'm only losing, like, 1 point something seconds per minute of gameplay, which is really good at the time. Let's run. Like, again, the run wasn't spectacular going into Now That I Remember. Just the fact that it was, like, this run is really good. And again, the best possible time is 1:28:46. And I end up playing 21 seconds off the sub. So, yeah, let's see how I play, like 47 minutes for remaining, like 55% of the run. Let's see how I play 21 seconds off the summer best. So yeah, this is, like, quite standard. Yeah, it's just setting that up slowly. I guess we just used to do that back then. Maybe I was nervous. Yeah, like, not doing that optimally, grabbing that, like, avoid... Yeah, I forgot we used to do this. This loses 2 seconds. It's so slow, and you only get, like, 80 manlies from it, or 90 or so, like, you get, like, no man... Here's the thing, right? I got the stack in a really slow way as well. You can literally just hug the side, and it's, like, a half a second stack, maybe a tiny bit more. The way that I did it just now, like, the literal slowest way possible, making it, like, over a second stack, maybe even, like, a second and a half. Like, it's just fucking stupid. And then this was unnecessary to grab. I lost some frames, especially because I had to turn. But this is 2 seconds. Dude, you can literally just cartwheel these ones, like, for no time loss whatsoever. I know you hardly get anything, but that's still, like, something. But again, we were fucking dumb. We used to upgrade throw in Area 1, and I don't know why, because there's no downside to upgrading in Area 2. There's just no downside. Again, didn't know about tuning the camera. Which is really dumb, because that just made this harder. So... I was, like, the only person... I might have been the only... I don't think Chris and Tedious were doing this, or maybe Chris was doing it, I don't know, but... I feel like at least one of them was not doing it, but... To save... Well, not the way that I was fucking doing it, but to save, like, 3 seconds, you can... Obviously, I would just... I don't do this now because I do circulate, which saves an additional 3 seconds, but you know what I mean. Generally, people die and then get damaged by the fogger, but yeah, that was... Oh yeah, we used to go this way, which loses, like, over half a second. Got a ledge grab there. Bad turn. And we used to do Patrick 2 million, that loses, like, a second and a half, maybe. I don't know, I'm just pulling that out of my ass. But yeah, this is where we used to upgrade, and I don't fucking know why. Didn't know about, like, the fast death, so losing a bit of time. Didn't know about the ledge grab skip. Okay, I forgot about this. I think what happened is that, like, we probably had such bad movements that we were, like, at risk of getting hit by the guy. So we just, like, oh, just slam. I don't think Chris and Tedious was slamming here. That was probably just a me thing. But then I realized in 2020, like, oh, you can literally just go past them. So yeah, I was losing, like, over a second from that. Like, however long it takes to, like, jump slam, and then, like, the slightly slower walking for a little longer. But it's still, like, in itself, like, a fine junkyard. Oh yeah, that was when we used to spin it instead of cartwheeling it, lose a bit of time. That was, like, fine. It was a little sus, but it was, like, fine. If I recall correctly, this is, like, basically perfect. I think I might have missed, like, one. Yeah, I missed, like, one jump. I still got it, bro. I still got it. 2-framing this was way... Either we didn't know, or it was like... Oh, no, we did know. It was like, hard, though. And now you're about to see the most diabolical fucking thing you've ever witnessed in your entire life. So, first of all, I just remembered... I was the... Out of me, Chris, and Tedious, I was the only person grabbing the SpongeBob warp early. It was known to be faster to do it later. With XD boost. But I didn't like XD boost, so I didn't do it. Thank God, for the record, that I decided to not do XD, because that shit was fucking awful. I did it for a little bit in, like, 2020, but it didn't take that long to drop it. But this is the actual diabolical thing. You know why I'm doing this, right? Again, this is how fucking great... Like, I did more than I needed to get 129, but again, it's just like, oh, I need the leniency. I made it so that I effectively have to 2-frame the 3-meter token. And the only reason I did this route change was so that I wouldn't have to warp from Dennis to SpongeBall. That was the only reason, so I didn't have to go from Dennis to SpongeBob back down to Dennis, because that lost 2 scrolls. Because of 2 fucking scrolls, I would put myself in a position where I had to go for the 3-meter 2-frame. And you know what the crazy thing is as well? Like, you can see that I tried to, like, jump on the side. Like, I was setting it up slowly. I wasn't even setting it up fast. I was setting it up slowly to get it more often, so that I could better justify doing it. Like, that is insane. That is deranged behavior. And I was the only person who ever did, and obviously, when it came back, I fucking dropped this immediately, but it was like 2 scrolls. And not only that, it didn't make sense even back then. Because I could have just done it during the backtracking segment. But then I was probably like, SpongeBob's too hard, so I have to, like, do it early. But even then, what the fuck? 2 scrolls, by the way. 2 fucking scrolls. I lost more than 2 scrolls with... okay, yeah, you remember in the first rubber dub task? When I went, like, quite far to the left to get 4 fucking boxes? To get, like... Plus a combo, it's probably like 10 manlies. I probably lost more from that wide turn for getting 10 manlies than I would lose from 2 fucking scrolls. Like, literally, what is wrong with me? Like, actually. Because I know, I think I consider this part of task route as well, but I don't know. Obviously, we don't need to see this. Oh, yeah, okay, the hesitation there as well. We were just bad back then. Yeah, again, just wouldn't have to do this normally. But again, I've talked about this before, so I won't go into a lot of deep, but we were just bad back then. Like, especially back in, like, 2016, when there were, like, no strats. Like, the difficulty was just not dying in these levels. Like, literally, like, so many runners would have, like, 40 seconds of time save in, like, SCDA SpongeBob, and that was just normal. That was just normal. That's probably why I was, like... That's probably why I was like, no, I need to do this early, because it's like, oh, it's too hard. Like, because it was there was a very real risk of dying here, like... And like SCDA floating block and stuff as well. Well, this is absolutely fucking diabolical, but something similarly diabolical is coming up like later in the run. And again, I dropped that like fucking immediately as well. Or I don't think I dropped it. I think I didn't realize initially, but then I pretty quickly was just like, fuck this, bro. Like then I like realized. Again, just like a bit of the hesitation. Like I don't know how much I lost in general, but it was probably like 4 seconds or 3. But yeah, I didn't get the fucking 2-frame on this, by the way. And because I had to warp here, like, yeah, the cycle's consistent, but I just lost, like, 3 seconds. Speaking of the cycle, we didn't know you could ledge grab skip here, but yeah. This is the other part of Floating Block Late, as we know. This one saves less. It saves, like, 8 to 10. It depends on, like, move cycles and shit, but this is probably the reason I try to justify it. It's like, oh, well, if I do it from, like, the 3-meter load, then the cycle's more consistent, but it's, I don't, you know, it's probably not even favorable. And yeah, that 2-second stack for some reason was considered a fucking crime to grab. I lost 2 seconds in the fucking SCDA tunnel earlier. That stack that I avoided is like 2.5 seconds or something. Not factoring cycle, but I think it puts you on a favorable cycle anyway. So it's probably even less, but yeah, even if it's the full 2.5 seconds, like, you literally get like 700 man, and then I could have skipped even more stuff. So I should have just grabbed it. Yeah, you probably, like, I haven't made a single major mistake this run. Like, the most major mistake I made was arguably not 2-framing the 3-meter token. That's probably, like, the biggest individual mistake I made. Like... unless you want to count, like, not 2-framing the floating block token in Now the Man as, like, a mistake. But back then, we absolutely would not have considered that a mistake, because it was just not common to get it at all. So it's just, you know... But yeah, pretty, like, normal SCDA outside of that stupid shit. And my gold here was bad as well, so again, like, that's, again, what I'm talking about with, like, not having, like, a good sub. So, now I need to play, 15 seconds off the fucking sub rev. Wait, no. Yeah, it's 15 seconds, so we got 15 seconds of leniency for, like, 42 minutes. Let's see how, this is before we knew about the fact that you could 1-frame these tokens, for Dennis 1 and 2. It is a 1-frame and not a 2-frame. Also, Yeah, I waited here. I think I found that you didn't have to wait here, but yeah, before that, losing like a second and a half or some shit, and something like that. But other than that, it'll be like the same. Yeah, it's just like the same outside of that. And yay, I saved 2 scrolls, but I lost 3 seconds because I'm fucking AIDS. Yeah. So, oh yeah, our Sunday, like, Sunday will probably be, like, the least optimized level. It was fucking bad. It was bad, dude. So, I don't know if we knew this at this point, but, well, no, okay, hold on, I mean... So, we used to think of Goob working in a completely different way, but then in 2018 or 17 or something, I got found out that we misinterpreted it, but even then... Because, again, PAL 360, so it's harder to get away from Goob and, you know, standards. I think all of us were just and we didn't really, like, fully understand like, how important nitro management was. Like, you're gonna see me stack a shit ton of nitros until lap 2. Keep in mind, I could have nitro through here and then nitro... Like, that saves, like, 2 seconds or something, like, maybe even more, and I'm just not doing it. So again, that's, like, another, like, 2 seconds, of just, like, bruh. And then obviously, like, you can't do this on lap 1. Yeah, it's just, like, fucking hell. No nitroing here, like, okay. Dude, why wouldn't you, like, okay, it is faster to go that way anyway, like, even if you don't have a nitro, but, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, come on. What are you doing? And we didn't know to go in the left side. Cole used to do it, and then we just stopped. I don't know what happened, but, like, there was, like, some... I don't know what happened, dude. In 2016, it's just... Yeah. Even though you get a nitro here, so it doesn't lose as much as it looks, but you're still losing, like, probably, like, a second at least. Probably more like a second and a half, but, yeah, I'd say, like, at least a second. Yeah, not nitroing here, even though it would help you. Okay, so you can only stack 10 nitros at a time, so that's why I'm not going the left side there. Fucking abysmal nitro usage, because first of all, there was a risk. I think we used to think that, like, oh, when you landed on the ground after a ramp, you, like, initially lose speed, which I don't even know if that's true, but, like, again, it's just, like, fucking, it's just so stupid. So, again, just, like, risking it for no reason, and then I missed the nitro anyway, so it's like... Yeah. And then I still have too much, so I gotta... And then I grabbed the health because I didn't nitro past the ice cream, which caused me to miss that nitro. And then you're gonna see me spam nitros, like, unoptimally. Like, look at all this, dude. Like, yeah, some of these aren't, like, unoptimal, but it's just, like... Like, nitroing, like, during turns is, like, not... Like, you kind of want to do it, like, immediately after a turn or whatever, or, like, at the end of the turn. And again, just did the same thing, and here's Sunday Jump. So, PAL 360 gets so much height that you can go literally over the fucking fence. I would still miss it sometimes, which is why I have time save here, but... Yeah, and I could have done that better. I did it in a slightly risky way. You want to nitro, like, later than that on 360. So I was making it harder than I needed to, but that was, like, a good Sunday Jump, except for the fact I bunked. Again, just, like, this was to get ahead of Goob as much as possible so that Goofy Goober wouldn't get away. I don't remember, like, how often that shit would happen, but, yeah. And obviously, this is before, Spiral Skip. Oh my god. For the record, by the way, like, 4:34 Sunday, right? That's, like, I think, like, pre-Sunday Jump and pre-Spiral Skip, like, on NTSCOG. I think that's, like, the standard now. I'm pretty sure runners, like, just get, like, 4:34s and 4:35s. Like, it's just crazy. Like, without Sunday Jump and stuff, that you can... It might even be faster than that, it's hard to remember. But yeah, again, this run is crack-a-lackin' because fucking minus 28 on the best. Again, like, from my perspective, again, for the standards of the time, I've made, like, pretty much no mistakes, really. Like, again, you can't, like, when you say perfect, you can't literally mean perfect, or else it'd be TAS, but... Like, from Now the Men onwards, like, what are the mistakes, you know? Like, unnecessary ledge grabs occasionally, and, like, not getting tricks that you would not expect yourself to get anyway, so you can't just be like, oh yeah, like, you know. Like, this run, it is, because it was expected to lose time in places, and there were no, like, getting a perfect run back then was basically just, like, not making, like, major mistakes, essentially, or not making, like, a billion small mistakes. Like, the run is, like, quote-unquote, like, near perfect, like, again, for what our interpretation of that was back then. It is, like, near perfect at this point in the run. Because, again, the most notable individual mistake is literally... Again, it's hard to even call it a mistake, but it's just missing the fucking... 3-meter 2 frame. Oh yeah, this is with the old, lamp and target route. My gold now is a 244, which is movement and, yeah, and because of these. This loses, like, 3 seconds or something. Potentially even more, because this also has, like, the 1-frame turnaround, which I did get, but obviously that's just, like, adding variables. I don't even need the stack, but we're fucking stupid, so I grab it, losing, like, half a second. I could have done that turn a bit better. And, yeah. Although, we still did the health management, that was terrible. Don't need these manlies losing frames. And, even then, I could have died, like, slightly further to the right. Yeah, I would have died, like, a frame or two faster, probably. And here's the old target route. You know what the funny thing is, right? This target route was objectively harder, like, objectively. And it loses, like, a second. It depends on how fast you do a certain trick, but I think if you do it, like, perfectly, like, it, like, about breaks even, or maybe loses a tiny, but, like, realistically, like, the new route saves, like, a second, or maybe a bit more. I kind of miss this old one, because there's just no reason to do it anymore. I think it can theoretically be fast in early powers, but there's just no point. There's no point in, like, deviating, like, just save, like, hardly, and then to add a trick that you wouldn't normally do that doesn't have, like, its own practice mod or anything. But you, like, jump to this, lamp. It's, like, weird. I think Cornbread found the current one. Terrible. You know you had a good turn here if you get caught in extra. Obviously, we need it for Hundo. Well, you don't literally need it for Hundo, but, like, it's ideal. Otherwise, you lose a little bit of time. And in all extras, you lose a shit ton of time because you have to go around if you miss it. But, like, it's good to get it anyway in non-extras categories because it means that you had a good turn, but this turn is wide. And then here's the trick. That was, like, kind of fast. This is lamp jump, and it saves, like, 10, 12 seconds or something compared to going around, probably, like, 10. And this was, like, nobody was practicing this because of how late in it was, and, you know, like, so you would, like, slow down a lot, but it was, like, hard to, like... The trick, I would call the trick, like, an intermediate, even to this day, if people are still doing it, I call it, like, an intermediate trick, because, again, like, you're not gonna practice it, and it's quite late in the run, and it loses a lot of time to miss it. If you miss it, you spawn so far forward that you can't attempt it again, so you don't just lose the 10, you lose, like, even more than that. Like, you're losing, well, you cut some of the 10, like, so you're losing, like, 8 or something instead of 10. But then, or maybe 7, but then, like, the whole going for it, missing it, dying, like, there's just so much time lost, like, that would kill some runs back in the day. But yeah. I need to be a bit cautious of when the, music ends. I think we got another, like, 40 minutes or something, which I don't think that's gonna be enough. It was definitely not gonna be enough. But yeah. And now here's Dennis 2, which is almost the same. Again, we didn't know about the one, and we used to bowl here twice, but Oofsta found out that that was slow back in, like, I don't even know, like, 2023 or something, I don't know. But other than that, again, it's kind of funny how, once again, other than a very small optimization and not knowing about the token frame, both Dennis's are, like, very, very similar to how they are. Like, they're virtually identical, again, other than those two things, respectively, like... The only thing is that I think I could have done... no, never mind, I was about to lie. But yeah, now we got sex jumps. Me, Chris, and Tedious, we were all doing this. However, Tedious and Chris was setting it up, like, a little faster. And I never liked, even to this day, I still don't set it up like that fast, like, because you just need to get the fucking jump, dude, like, you just gotta get it, like, the first jump is so hard. But yeah, we'll see how I do. And again, I'm fucking shitting myself. I remember this run, actually. I believe it was when I was, like, in Dennis 2. Jam came in the room. I think he, like, I think he brought me, like, water or something. Well, I used to drink fucking... I don't know if you guys have it in America, but it was like, well, obviously, it was Tesco brand, but it was like Tesco Summer Fruits. I should get it. I used to swig that shit all the time from like 2018 to like 2020. I was a huge fan of it. And then they stopped making it for a while because like the factory, the manufacturer, the drinks like literally burned down. And I was like, bro. But then I got back on it, and then I was like, you know what, I don't really, like, need this anymore. I should buy it again. Like, dude, they used to have, like, 3 for £1, and now it's, like, 1 for, like, 80p or whatever, so, bro. But yeah, I should buy another one just for old time's sake, if it still tastes the same. But yeah, I remember, like, coming home, getting it out of the fridge, and just swigging the fuck out of it. So I think he brought in a Summer Fruits, but it's hard to say. I'm not sure if I was on the Summer Fruits train in 2018, but I feel like I was. It's hard to remember. But yeah, it's just funny because like, it's just, again, that's like a core memory. I just like remember certain things in the run, but like not that much stuff. I remember like certain like memories of when I was doing these runs at the time. Like how when me and Tedious were racing, because BBBH Backwards was like new, and Tedious was better than me, but not by like that much, so we raced. And I lost, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail because this video is really long, but I did lose. I mean, it was a partial skill issue, but, like, it wouldn't have... Okay, so... Well, again, I'm trying to save time, but... I lost my run. It was like, 136 pace into BBBH 2, and I lost it because of a texture glitch, and it would not have happened. I don't want to keep saying the word objectively, but, like, genuinely, it only happened because I got a texture glitch. And who knows if I would have, like, won the race? But, like, I was ahead at the time. But, I mean, the PB was the fucking thing. I feel like that would have PB'd. Obviously, there's still quite a bit of the run left, but I feel like that would have PB'd. But yeah, let's watch this. Again, I set it up quite slow, but that's not what matters. What matters is that every single fucking jump was perfect. Obviously, you know... At the end of the day, like, yeah, I could have done it a little faster, and my turns are still, like, not great, but you'll see, like... My time is still, like, again, not cutting the corner. Like, even to this day, low 106 is really good. You can't complain about it. Also, I don't even know for a fact if Chris and Tedious' setups are faster. They just look faster. They probably are, but I do not like them. Again, like, as soon as you get that first jump, like, you're not home free or anything, but, like, you're in a much better position. So, yeah, now we got Ring. There's really any point showing this, like... Well, I lost half a second there, but, and again, just, like, losing multi... Like, it's just not corner cutting properly. That's not really what matters. What matters is, like, the time. Like, even though a lot of years have passed and, like, certain segments, like Rockslide, have gotten, like, 20 seconds faster, some segments are very similar. Obviously, in terms of, like, Guess 2 is essentially the same. My gold is, like, a 5 flat something. It's, like, a low 5 flat, maybe? Or maybe a mid 5 flat? So, like... This is pretty, like, you know. I also remember when Jam brought in that drink, I just remember being, like, shirtless and my heart was pounding really fast. I remember, like, I was sitting, like, I bought a desk, like, just so that I had a big enough desk to, like, because I already had one, obviously, but I bought a bigger one so I could fit a second monitor and a capture card and everything. I was, like, sitting in the corner of the living room. It was just, like, I remember the good times, bro. Good snowball mic. Fucking hell. But yeah, like, again, this is what matters, really. So, oh yeah, that was, like, if you miss that jump, you were fucked. But I was like, alright, I'm fucked, I'm just fucked. And then, god damn, I got the boy be damned, in spite of the stress. He got the frame. And then I believe it was perfect after this. Yep. Well, I didn't have to jump quite that high, but again, yeah, stupid. And what was this? Yeah, this is a bit slower, but this is like this is still like fine, even by today's standards. I was like, yeah, 504. So this run, again, for the standards, I have to keep saying that this run is like near perfect. It is like perfect. Like it wasn't known that you could play this fucking good. And keep in mind, again, look at, I played like a couple seconds off the sum of best. From I think like Dennis onwards, I've played like 2 seconds off the sum of best, or like 3 seconds maybe. Like, that is like essentially perfect. This is before we knew about the fast menu cancel, where you bring up the upgrade menu instead of the regular menu. That saves like half a second. Obviously, like, no lag clipping shenanigans here. Wait a minute. Wait, how the fuck were Chris and Tedious able to do SpongeBob late if I'm only gonna get 40 tokens after Plank? What the fuck? Where were they getting the spare token from? Oh, I know where it was from. Right, yeah. You might not have noticed something, but we'll get to it later, because it's fucking stupid. Oh yeah, not everybody was doing this. Again, I don't know if Chris and Tedious were doing this, but... yeah, I had, like, that kind of, like, consistency advantage, like, movement and stuff. But also, like, even though I was doing some slower stuff, like, I was just playing more, so, like, you know, more refined movement and stuff. We would hide behind the wall and wait to hear the Murph shoot, because if you did that, he would never be in a position to shoot your, You don't even have to wait as long as we did, honestly, you only have to stand behind it for, like, a second, but, yeah. Waited for, like, 2 seconds or something. Maybe more. But yeah, this should look like basically the exact same. Dude, I think back then, we thought the plank was on the same cycle from fucking, like, the beginning of the level. Because it's the only bungee cycle for its cycle to only start when you touch the hook. So yeah, I think we would only practice it from the beginning of the level, which is really stupid. Oh, well, okay, well, I avoided spring legs there. Unnecessary spin. This is before we knew about I think it was before we knew about the strat here. Maybe it was just considered too hard, but yeah, that was a really fast clip. This is fully inconsistent. It is free, as in, like, you can never miss it. You're not gonna die or anything, but... yeah, that was, like, near instant. But it can take as long as, like, I think the longest I've ever seen is, like, 20 seconds or something. Like, it can take that long, and it is just fully inconsistent. And I got it, like, almost perfect. And dude, I walked off that, like, so effortlessly. It's like, it takes more effort on 360, on OG. We didn't know that you didn't have to fucking... you can literally, like, you see my cursor, you can literally just go, like, here, and you'll get it. Which, by the way, it made this harder, because you only have, like, a couple seconds of, like, genuinely, for beginners, it's actually quite... or if you just make, like, a mistake as an intermediate player, it can be quite hard to make it. We were just making it, like, this was actually quite, like, I made that with, like, a second leniency. If you fuck up, like, literally at all, because I'm doing a swan accident. Didn't get the 2-frame, but again, it's just, like, you wouldn't expect to get it, so that's, like, whatever. That was so unnecessary. Yeah, you get a slightly better line, but you have to jump, so it's like, bruh. I'm surprised I was going for the strat. I didn't know I was doing this. And then you just warp back to the beginning, and... yeah. You know what's funny is that, like, because you'd be spamming B to, like, skip Mindy's tech, you were, like, almost setting up ball store. It's kind of funny. Alright, so this is, like, a Cole remnant. Cole would do the backtracking in this category. Like, he would always do, like backtracking from, like, up to down. Like, almost always, like, up to down. So he would do Depression, BBBH, and SCDA, even though... even for his, like, ancient-ass rat, it just made the most sense to do, like, probably, like, BBBH, like, either, like, SCDA, BBBH, and Depression, or, like, BBBH, Depression, and SCDA. And then when we were playing, it easily made the most sense to do BBBH, Depression, SCDA, but again, we didn't even think to fucking do it. We just didn't think to do it. But yeah, that was a really good plank, like, can't complain. And now we have Depression Combat, which, you know, before, like, the modern strats and everything. I also upgraded Guitar, in Plank. Obviously now we know that the, animations, but in this category, like, you need it for throwing through anyway. However, because I'm doing Depression Fit, I'm going to lose time from having a slower upgraded... I'm gonna have a slower guitar animation when doing the guitar challenge. And that'll also be the case for the guitar challenge in BBBH as well. However, because you actually want upgraded guitar here anyway, so nowadays you would do, like, SCDA, then it doesn't really... Oh, actually, because of a strat in BBBH, yeah, so you'd want to do, like, SCDA, Depression, BBBH, even though you would, you know, difficulty-wise would do BBBH first, but you just can't get away with it. Like, to save as much time as possible, you really should be doing it, like, ASAP now. But yeah, this isn't going to be, like, super optimal. Like, even with enemies right next to me, I would just, like, almost refuse to spin them half the time, and I don't fucking know why. I was just, like, really weird about that. That was a terrible ball. Like, it's stupid as well, because from waves 1 to 3, like, the beginning spawns are, like, all exactly the same every time, so I don't know why I was, like, bowling into the middle, because you can get, like, some good combos and stuff. But yeah, now we know for wave 2 and 3, stand here and spam guitar until there's, like, a certain number of enemies left for wave 2 and 3, like, there's different numbers, and then you want to go back to this. But yeah, Cole found that this route was fast in, like, 2016, so... Been doing this since. Because, like, Rubber the Ring is longer than this, and Rubber the Macho equivalent is longer than this because of the targets. Like, they're both, like, really long. I don't know how long they are combined, but it's probably, like, 6.5 minutes. And this is, like, even back then, it was, like, under 3 minutes, I think. So, like... You know. And then we had nothing else to replace that was as slow as that, either. Like, what were we gonna replace? Well, it was SCDA guitar originally, even though that's 2.5 minutes. It's just, like... And again, like, standing... Like, it was actually... I think I might have been the only person, like, doing this, by the way. I was doing, like, really risky. We used to stand at the back and bowl there. But I obviously, you know, it was hard to time stuff back then, so I just did a couple attempts, like, circling around. I was like, oh, it saves, like, 2 seconds or whatever, but obviously then it was a lot more risky. I had runs, like, on world record pace where they would literally die to the last couple enemies in the level. It was just like that sometimes. But yeah, I'm just, like, playing bad, again, some missed ball shots and stuff, but... It's fine. I'm gonna spoil things a little bit, but this fucking Depression golded. There was this really weird thing with Depression 2. I feel like it was like, the case for like a long time. It was so common to get like a really good Depression combat and then not fucking gold, and then you get one that feels like mid or even potentially even bad, and you just fucking gold. Because I feel like at the time, I remember being like, oh yeah, this isn't gonna gold, and it fucking golded by like a second or two. And then I'd get Depressions that were almost certainly faster, surely, and then they just wouldn't gold. Keep in mind, the only other thing you do is guitar, so like, that's not... You're not gonna lose time there, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's some stupid time losses and stuff. That ending wasn't bad, but yeah. Again, even back then, this Depression was... Yeah, fucking, like, 255. Like, that's not even that. Like, nowadays, I get, like, 250 or whatever. Like... Yeah, it's... Oh, I fucked up a bit, but... I just remembered, I was on, like, 130... I had a 132. I was going for 131. And I remember, like, feeling very confident that I was gonna get it for some reason. I got cocky, so I just started, like, looking at my splits and stuff and, like, really paying attention to them. And I wasn't paying attention, like, and pretty far into this challenge, I fucking, like, hit something, and I lost, like, 30, 40 seconds, and I had to do the challenge again. And I believe I PB'd, but not by that much, so I had a 132 again. So, yeah. It was probably, like, 132, like, 10 or some shit I had, like, bruh. Like, so fucking stupid. Yeah, this is another reason why I should have done SCDA first. Actually, yeah, I absolutely should have done SCDA first, but you'll see. You'll see. And yeah, I golded by like a second, like barely over a second. And now here's something. Here's the... Again, it depends on what you count as a mistake, but even like this far into the run, even if we're counting the Now the Men thing as a mistake, this is the second biggest mistake in the run so far. And if you don't count that, then this is the biggest mistake in the run so far. Watch this. Oh, fucking hell, I misremembered. So nowadays, we do guitar just before drowning, but we didn't know that for a long time, so we're losing like 4 seconds or some shit by doing this early. Again, like, I'm going through, like, the middle of the rings generally, so it's just, like, throughout the entire challenge, I'm losing, like, a couple seconds. And again, like, bad camera. And then watch this. I lost, like, 6 seconds. And that was, like, again, for the... I keep saying it. This was, by what was considered a mistake, this was the biggest mistake in the entire run, and it was, like, 6 seconds. And spoilers, that's how it's going to be for the rest of the run, unless you count other things. So yeah, we set up guitar storage, and not really anything to see here. We didn't know that you could just jump from step 1 to step 3, so we did, you know, just lose a bit of time there. Get the BBB, didn't have to go quite that far, there was a texture glitch back there. And you don't want to, like, do this, you want to, like, go around the side, so, you know, so you can cartwheel the whole time. And then, again, we didn't know about, like, you can just start the challenge, like, while you're in the port ahead. And yeah, we drown here. And then we would just do this. But, oh yeah, here's another way that, I don't know about tedious, but Chris was doing something here. And it's just like an old outdated thing. You'll see. Anyway, I forgot to split here, but yeah, I split here, So that was like the second place where I would like split on Token Touch, because again, it's like where else are you gonna... I mean, I could have split on Drowning, but I didn't think of that at the time. In old tokens, I think I do actually split on Drown now. It's hard to remember, but I think I do that. But yeah, so Electric Bash was known, but it was considered like hard. I'm not even on cycle for it. I literally guitared the shit like too fast, and I didn't know that at the time. I thought I was too slow. I mean, maybe I was. Maybe if I guitared it like perfectly, maybe, but I'm pretty sure I was too fast. But yeah, you just bash boost off of that, everybody knows it. It's even riskier to do that now compared to back then, but yeah. So, so what you can do instead, and what I would recommend to like nearly everybody who does BBBH backwards, is that you jump like here, and then you jump down here, and then you just guitar the button from a distance. Like, that only loses like a couple seconds to Electric Bash. But we didn't know that back then, and you're about to see a slower, and again, objectively harder thing, because it just didn't know back then. So you go here, and then like, because of RNG and stuff like that, it can be hard to avoid the slammers. And this was actually, like, low-key kinda hard. This was a little hard. Like, if you just, like, fuck it up a little bit, it's pretty easy to miss that, but yeah. It is cool, but it's not fast, like... I lost like 2 seconds from that compared to doing the other thing, and it's just slower. Again, worried about like lag, so I just pan the camera down. And here's something, I'm not going to play the audio, but here is something that I said. I said, I gotta get both of these 1 frames to have a like, well, I don't remember exactly, but I said I need to get both of these 1 frames to get, like, to have a chance of getting 128. Is what I said, like around, like, here. I was like, oh, I forgot to split, and then I was like, I need to get both of these 1 frames to have a chance of getting 128. I said something like that. Oh yeah, also, I didn't used to stream at all, and then I started streaming consistently in, like, I say consistently, I did fucking know, hardly at all. I like, almost didn't stream for, like, a while. It was just a couple streams, but it was mostly, like, from, like, April... Yeah, from like early to mid-April onwards is when I started streaming all of my attempts, so yeah. But anyway, so here are the stakes, right? I gotta get the Disco 1 frame, which is like a new thing with BBBH backwards. And again, I'm not gonna risk the 2 frame this late in the run. And then I need to get the SCDA, the BBBH Spongeable token to 1 frame to get 128 potential. I got it. You know what the crazy thing is, well, is that camera's fucking awful. Even now, like, if you're gonna raw dog it, like, you gotta, like, turn the camera, because, like, that is just fucking abysmal. Buffering that token is unironically hard, because it's just, like... I swear that token is fucking, like... SpongeBob jump buffers are, like, probably the hardest buffers in the game, but I also swear to God this token is slightly elevated compared to, like, most tokens, but even if I'm wrong about that... Yeah, SpongeBob's height is, like, slightly lower than Patrick's, and, you know, you gotta, like, have good jump spacing, and then, like, part way into the descending, you gotta, like, generate the lag, but, like, yeah, it's just, like, it's stupid. But yeah, that was fast as fuck, and you're not gonna see fast quality. It was known, but again, it wasn't considered, like, viable. So you're just gonna see a very standard thing. I want to see, like, how fast I build up speed here. I could have done that a bit faster, but I got this one as well. And again, a bit of hesitation, but I golded by a lot for a good reason. Again, this run, it was pretty easy to call it perfect at this point. Not just for the standards, but like a 6-second mistake in the span of an hour and 40 minutes, and then the rest of it is just like ledge grabs or like missing token frames that you like never get anyway. This, okay. I don't know if I should count, like, yeah, like no cheese, creek, bounce, that's 3. Like 3K sponge bowl, 3K bungee, 3K floating block, and then like, you know, like, I didn't know that Now the Men bungee was fast, so we skipped that one. Now the Men floating block, 3 meter sponge ball, SCDA floating block, like plank ice skating, and then BBBH disco and sponge ball. So literally 13. There were 13 token frames throughout the entire run, and I got the 2 depression ones. I got both of the 3K ones. Oh no, I didn't get both. I got one of the 3K. Oh, I forgot. It was 14. I forgot about one of the other. Yeah. So it's 14 total. And I had like 2 out of depression. 4 out of 3K. Like 5 out of SCDA. Yeah, I had like 7 out of like 14, which is like, that's a 50% consistency rate with the tokens, which is unironically good because they are harder than that. Like, I still am adamant about how we almost definitely would not have like gotten these tokens like consistent by now, which is that is like a major reason why I'm very against hard drive. But that's like its own thing, which I've already made a video on before, but well, I think I made a video, I probably like talked about it at least, but these tokens all have like inherent inconsistency to them because of the second frame and everything. Especially because there's even more now. You know, like knowing that the Now the Men one is fast, like, and with like it would be too much with like all these strats as well. But yeah, like so 50% token frame rate is like pretty good. You would expect it to be like 1/3, you know. But yeah, everybody was doing SCDA guitar and then, you know, do XD boost and stuff. I wasn't doing that. Instead, I did floating block now. Not only is that absolutely insanely fucking moronic because of like I'm going for the token frame and I could have just done it earlier. I think the reason why isn't just because I didn't want to lose 2 scrolls. I think it's also because I didn't want my segment times to be too different from Chris and TDS, right? Because SpongeBob was like around the same, like including like getting the wall, it was like around the same length as floating block. Like floating block's a bit longer, but like, you know, because then we can still like roughly compare, even though they were splitting at the wrong, they were splitting at different times to me. So, like, I meant that it was wrong for me to try and, like, because I feel like I remember that being one of my reasons, and that was such a stupid reason if that really was, like, my reason. You need to, like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know what's fucking wrong with me, like, what was wrong with me. But that isn't even the worst of it. I mean, doing it this late is so moronic again, because I could have literally just done both of these, this and SpongeBob after Dennis, and I would have saved time. I would have saved time, because then I wouldn't have lost 3 fucking seconds in 3 meter. So my best possible time would be even better right now. But that isn't the only thing. You're about to witness it. Well, there's 2 things to witness, but this is the main one. Well, no fucking cartwheel, but again, I don't know if I just didn't know or what, but yeah, watch this. So, I didn't get hit by any spitters, however, there is another way to lose ice physics glitch. If you throw a freezy fruit and then step on it, you lost ice physics glitch. When did I do that? Plank. Yeah. We didn't know back then what made would have us lose ice physics, because a lot of people would just lose it in 3K, but not always, and, you know, sometimes 3 meter, and it was just kind of the whole thing. Sometimes Nether Women as well, occasionally Frogfish. So it was, like, rare to get, so, like, we didn't know. But yeah. How much am I losing from this? Like, 7 seconds? Like, 7 or 8 seconds? Yeah, so I was doing something to save, like, 10 seconds, right? It was to save, like, 10. Oh, I forgot to look at my SCDA ending earlier. I don't know how I didn't. I should actually do that. I don't know, like, dude, how do I manage? Anyway, yeah, so that was, like, not good. That was, I mean, it was, like, yeah, this is, like, holy mid. This is just, like, so fucking aggressively average. I don't know if I would have been on a better cycle otherwise if I didn't fucking do the SpongeBob bullshit, but... But yeah, like... Yeah, just losing, like, 7 or 8 seconds every single time. I didn't get hit by a spitter this run. I would have had ice physics glitch. I would have had it. It's just so dumb. So I'm just losing loads of time. We still take this like general, but like a faster one's been found, but I don't know like how viable that. Like I haven't really fucked with it that much. Although this is actually a good cycle for not having ice physics glitch. I'm actually quite surprised by like how. Okay, well now it's falling apart a little bit. It would have been a bit faster to go the other way. But yeah, you have to like. I think I don't remember if I used to practice both cycles. I wouldn't be surprised if I only practiced like this one. But yeah, like, this is actually like not that bad. But again, like I'm not risking like getting fucked by the spikes. Okay, so I lost time from doing that fucking stupid 3 meter thing. I lost time from not having ice physics glitch, and this is the final nail in the coffin. If I didn't do this, I would have gotten 128. And there were other things that caused it to not happen as well. I was gonna save this for later, but like, no. You have no idea. To this day, I have never been as nervous in a speedrun as I was in Neptune this run. And spoilers, I golden Neptune. The most nervous I've ever been in my entire career of speedrunning since taking it seriously in 2015. Or at least like more seriously. That was the most nervous I've ever been. The sweatiest I've ever been. Like, it was just like, again, the most stressed I've ever been. And I golden Neptune. I would have gone 128, and I didn't because I missed hard things that I didn't have to do. I would have gone 128 if I made the run easier. If I made the run easier, I would have gone 128. Because then I wouldn't... Okay, so... You could say, like, oh, well, you didn't lose, like, the whole 10 seconds because... Well, I mean, this is just the same thing as doing it earlier, but, like, more wasted time because it's, like... You know, I had to, like, do the whole ledge grab animation and then, like, a little extra cartwheeling, so I lost, like... I don't know, like, 3.5 seconds, maybe? Like, 3 seconds? Yeah, probably, like, 3 seconds. But then I went for the 2-frame and missed it, so I was, like, 4 seconds. Yeah, so I lost, like... So I didn't lose that much, but again, I don't know about the cycle I would have gone. But I lost, like, 4 seconds. And then Ice Physics Glitch lost me like 7 to 8, so like I would have gone it by making the run easier. And with 3 meter as well, just like making it even more lenient. Yeah. But again, I mean, because that would have been so legendary. Like, this time was legendary in the community. It is, like, other than like Cole's run, it is probably the most, like, important run in the game's history, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I don't know, like, oh my god, I'm so fucking awesome, but it's literally like... Nobody had done, other than Cole, and again, like, the standards increased a lot from then, nobody had done a run with this few mistakes, like, nobody had done it. Like, this was so legendary for, like, setting a completely different fucking standard, just like Cole did back in the day. This is literally, like, the Cole run, but while it has more mistakes, it's also, like, quite a bit of a harder run by now, so it's, like... Cole didn't do a single 2-frame, for example, but again, like, standards like that, his run was so good. But yeah. So at least at this point, I was like, alright, I could just focus on getting 129. But dude, imagine if I got a 129 skip. That would have been fucking insane. Yeah, we didn't know about going around this way. And I'm doing a pretty wide turn. And I still got hit. Yeah, so probably losing like 2 seconds in total. That was about... Yeah, okay, I built up like 2 extra wall jumps than I needed to, so that's probably just the standard back then, but yeah, that's losing me a couple seconds. We didn't know about like jumping here, and that spin was unnecessary, so losing a bit more time. Spinning there again. So, fan jump, even now, fan jumps can be a bit tricky. I swear there's like a tiny bit of inconsistency to it, I swear, but... Yeah, so... What actually matters is the fan jump, really, and then just not choking afterwards. I also lost a, potential world record. I lost a lot of, like, PB pace runs, and even a few world record runs to playing Spongeball. It was, like... Obviously, there were some early game killers, like 3K, Floating Block, and, like, Depression and stuff. Now the men in SCDA were, like, the mid-game killers. And then... You know, BBBH was a potentially big one as well, but, like Plank was, like, the next big one. Next big run killer. You know, that cycle saves like 10 seconds or something, and again, it's like, oh my god, I can't just get a safe 129 brevet seconds, because what if I get hit in Neptune 500 times? And I got a slow cycle. I mean, obviously still faster than waiting for the whole corkscrew, but yeah, this kind of sucks a little bit. Not that bad, I probably lost like 4 seconds off of what I would get now, but yeah. And that steam movement was slow. Could have gone the right side, would have been a bit of a better line. Yeah, puzzle skip. Nothing crazy there. Although back then we were calling it Watsup skip. This is before GGC. So you you don't do sponge glide in this category anyway, but like you do GGC, and I don't remember how much the saves do, because it also depends on like a bunch of strats here. There's a strat you can do that I already haven't done. There's a strat you can do that I'm not going to do. And then there's another, like, strat that I didn't exist back then that I probably wouldn't have done anyway. Actually, yeah, because it requires, like, 2 things we didn't know about, really, so... Like, I don't remember, like, what the timing was compared to, because super realistically, somebody's gonna do this, like, effectively casually. So GDC, like, being like, oh, it only saves, like, 12 seconds or whatever, it's like... It's obviously realistically saving way more than that, because why would somebody go this way unless they're getting the extra, or they're not good enough to do GDC, and if they're not good enough to do GDC, they're not good enough to do the other stuff. There's like a hard thing you can do here. It's like finicky, even now I kind of fuck it up, but you can like... There's like some invisible ledge thing here, maybe some kind of like pseudo ceiling swim, and that allows you to catch a cycle here where you wall jump at the back of this, and the whole thing saves like 3 seconds, or maybe like 3.5 or something. But yeah, then just, yeah. My name Jeff. Oh yeah, there's a thing that can happen here where, I think you, like, if you miss it and then you wait for, like, the next one, I don't know. There's a way for, like, the platforms to jump up so high that you just, like, can't get to them, and that happened to me. It's happened to me a few times, but I remember losing, like, at least, like, a PB pace run to it. I'm not sure what time I had, though, but I know it was in, like, the 130s somewhere. Here's another thing, so we thought this lost, like... I think we thought this lost, like, 2 seconds or something. And because I couldn't get 128 anymore, and it still would have been, like, a low 129, I was like, oh yeah, just fucking, you know... But then it was like, oh no, it actually loses this amount. Okay, well, you'll fucking see, like, the actual, like, stupidity in this, So I despawned them, because there actually is, like, RNG with them. I genuinely do not blame it. But I know if I was on 128 because I obviously would have gone for it, but... And who knows, maybe the run would have died there, and I wouldn't have gotten 128 anyway, but... Even if I didn't do the others. But again, at least then it would have been up to more, like, fate, rather than me doing stupid shit and getting punished for it. I could have done that a bit faster. But I panicked. I fucking brain farted, because I don't normally despawn the moves. So despite the moves not being there, I drowned myself, and that doesn't lose that much. But it's just the fact that I not only, like, lost a couple seconds from the despawn, but then I also, like, I don't even know how, like, 3 seconds or something, maybe 4, So again, that's just another, like 6 seconds that I lost, like 5 to 6. Which that wouldn't have been enough on its own, but then that and the 3-meter thing would have been enough on its own. That and the SCDA floating block thing would have been enough on its own. It's just like, what is wrong with me? Oh, and this is before Monumental Bash. And this is before we knew how to, like, avoid, like, springy legs and shit. I don't think there's a way to, like, fully avoid it, but yeah. You actually can go to the conveyor belts and it only loses, like, a second, but we weren't good enough for that back then. You know, the crazy thing is, I, like, only barely did in gold, which is just like, bruh. So yeah, at this point, it's just like, alright, bro, like, I'm still fucking panicking so bad, but yeah. And the sob is finally 127, but that's not, like, you know. And the, music stopped, apparently. When did the music stop? Okay, it only ended a couple minutes ago. I'm just gonna... I just started it, like, 40 minutes in or something. Nobody's gonna notice, nobody's gonna care, bruv. Again, this is what I mean. Knucklehead was, like, so sloppy. I hate using that word now in an unironic context. It used to be able to say, like, oh yeah, I had, like, sloppy execution or whatever, but now you can't say that anymore because it's, like, slop live. Welcome back to Slop Live. But yeah, not doing the turn here, the optimal turn. Wide turn. Like... that we didn't know about, like, the hop here that saves, like, a quarter of a second. People still swear to this day that it's faster to, like, hug the side. I swear to God it's not. I swear it's not. That could have been a lot better, especially because I was like, oh, I'll like, lose speed in the thingy, despite the fact that I allowed that to happen in Sunday anyway, but you have oil properties for partway through, like, going through it anyway, so, like, you don't even lose as much time as you traditionally would. There is, like, a small optimize. I used to do it, but I dropped it because it's terrible. You can, like, squeeze in between the spikes on the wall, but it fucking sucks. It's not worth it at all for saving, like, literally, like, 0.15 or something. The fact that, like, even I don't do it. I could have gone left. You can always go left side there, so I just lost time for no reason. Going through the TNT would have saved a bit. Let's see if I got middle door. No, I did not. And then you're gonna see now. Oh, what the fuck? Wait, I did. Oh, yeah. I think Tedious and Chris used to go around, but yeah, so I'm losing like probably like a second. And then I didn't cut the fucking corner here either. So I'm losing like another, probably like at least half a second. Oh, that's a naughty word. I mean, it could be worse. It could be like an actual like, I mean, well, it is, you know what I mean? It could be. But yeah, that was the culture at the time, you could say. Yeah, we're just gonna ignore that. Oh yeah, I think on NTSCOG, I think you have to nitro here. But on fucking PAL 360, it's really funny, because on PAL 360, you get, like, the perfect height to do this. So that, like, because you're on the edge of on the end of the tunnel, so you get to use, like, a perfect nitro. It's, like, fucking great. And then I vividly remember that I got, like, the slowest fucking magnetization of this nitro, like possible. Like, watch this now. That was, like, literally as bad as it possibly could have been. And you know what's crazy? I golded as well. And, yeah, as you can imagine, I golded Neptune. So I hadn't, like, quite gotten, like, my perfect Neptune gold anyway. But I was fucking with this, like, strat. Well, it was just, like, doing phase 1 so risky, like, the first hit. Doing it so risky that... like, you know, one-shot cycle, where in Neptune's first-person phase, he only shoots once by the time you get to crabs? That is just pretty standard now. Like, a lot of, like, the top-level players are gonna have that, you know, be the case. It's even harder now. Because of the guitar strat at the beginning, Neptune starts attacking sooner, so it's actually harder to make it than it used to be. That shit saves, like, 2.5, but you lose, like, 2 seconds from every shot, like, every wasted shot from Neptune. So, I think it saves 2.5 for the guitar thing. It might be like 2. I don't know, but I think that shit got found like the same day I uploaded the no pause storage tutorial, or at least I got done recording it. But yeah, like, that 5, by the way, 5 complete, like, that's just not correct. Yeah, I switched my splits, so I'd only finished 5 runs with the new route in the span of, like, 2 weeks. Obviously, you probably wanted to just, like, finish a run, and then my standards got higher, but again, we were insane reset monkeys. But yeah, so 2-shot was, like, very standard back then. I was fucking with 1-shot, but I wouldn't, like, intentionally go for it in a run. It was way too risky, especially because I couldn't get 128. And even then, I made a bit of a small mistake there as well, like, with how I, like, spun. Like, you can see... Oh, fucking hell, hold on. I accidentally fucking... Hold on. Yeah, that's good. So, I kind of, like... The reason why it was so hard is because of how aggressively we'd move, like... You see how badly that I was moving right, like, how much I was. Like, we were being, like, way less risky back then. You know what's funny, though? I still made it pretty easily. Watch this. I still fucking made it with loads of leniency, and this was considered hard back then. I made it with, like, well over a second of leniency, and it was pretty obvious how I could have improved that whole thing, and that whole ordeal. And I still got it on the first shot. Like, fucking insane. Also, Neptune, you want to be on the ground as soon as possible when Neptune, like, ends his, like, attack. Because then he'll, like, start his first-person phase sooner. And, yeah, that was just, like, bad. But, yeah, not like, back then we didn't give a fuck about that, obviously. And this is before the spin strat, and obviously I didn't do the guitar strat. But yeah, I got it in 1 shot, and again, this is what I mean, the most nervous I've ever been in my entire career, by a lot. Like no run I've gotten since then, like, in terms of nerves and everything, and like, the pressure on me has ever felt the way it has. Even my really good runs, like the 1 flat 49, I was really nervous, like, from, like, plank onwards, but it just doesn't compare, like, to this. It really doesn't. But... yeah, although this... Was this a 1-shot as well? Oh, maybe... Oh, wait, no. I think the second shot was the hard one. Alright, so I guess disregard what I said, like, a minute or two ago. Like, the second shot was the... I forgot. The second shot now is the harder one, I think. It is now. No, it's the easier one. But back then it was the harder one. Because of the lack of the guitar strat. I could have also guitared a little sooner, but, like, whatever. But even back then, phases 2 and 3 just... like, actually, I'm not sure, we'll see about phase 3, but phase 2 was definitely easier than phase 1. Also, back then, I used to, like, I remember, like, I muted my mic and I closed the chat for Neptune. I would sometimes even do that from, like, SCDA or whatever, but I didn't, well, that was, yeah, like, that's just, you know. But, no, I can't do that. Like, I can't just be quiet for that. I don't even do any of that anymore. When I came back in 2020, I did that sometimes for Neptune, but, yeah, generally, it's just, like... I've done Neptune so many times, and it just gets easier. Like, maybe there has been, like, 1 or 2 times where I've choked Neptune specifically because I had the chat open, but over the course of how many world records have gone, it's not like the end of the world. But yeah, again, I could be detonating a little sooner. Oh yeah, well, I lost 25, but yeah, like, you can see, like, I lost a lot of time from that 1:30:07. But yeah, he's looking good. Like, again, for the standards, this is, like, perfect Neptune. Oh, we did know about... Okay, I remember now. I think it was Tedious' strat to bash the spitters, and then I don't know if Chris was doing it, but obviously Tedious was doing it and I was doing it, and it really does... Like, phase 3 went from being the hardest to being the easiest. But obviously, you know, it was still hard, obviously, and, you know, the nerves and everything, but... Like, at this point, I just, like, knew I had it, right? Because even if Neptune, like, hits you as late as fucking possible, you lose, like, 20-something, and I had a 30 lead with 20 seconds to, like, even if I got hit, it still would have been a super comfortable 129. And then if I got hit again, it was still, like, a 129. So I would have had to have gotten hit, like, as late as possible 2 times, and then, like, you know, partway through another one like a third time, or like partway through like 3 of them, but then it was like a bit later in for all of them, like, you know, like on average. But it's like, again, it's just like, yeah. Oh, and Samstrad didn't exist back then, so I had less time to line ourselves up here. It's kind of funny, like, you're gonna see that I got like a 342 or something. My gold now is like, it's hard to remember exactly because I don't normally play these like non-upgrading guitar and Neptune categories, but I think my gold's like a 337 or 8 or something. For like 337 or something. Again, I can't remember. I think I transferred my fucking cheapest gold for those because it's the same thing. If anything, it's actually slightly harder and cheap. Well, you get like, you get upgraded spin, so it's spinning the, but like I get upgraded spin in all tokens in Hundo anyway. So the only difference then is upgraded bash, and that makes it like arguably harder. I would say it makes it harder. So I would just like transfer the gold because it's still like pseudo auto scroller kind of thing. That was also like a slightly unoptimal hit, but yeah, this was the run. I might let you hear the reaction, if I don't fucking cringe enough. I don't know how loud the audio is, but I know I didn't talk for like, I just remember like, again, my chest was pounding so fucking fast, and it's just like that feeling of like, there's no way I did that.
What the fuck was that?
I fucking horrible accent, bad mic, and I was young. How old was I during this? I was 17. I was like 17 and like 3 weeks old. Yeah, that's definitely right.
Jesus Christ.
It's fucking hell, it's so cringe. Shut up, Rev. But yeah, I mean, no wonder. Again, I said earlier that we thought that like a mid 129 was like the cap. And I got a really low 129. And it would have been 128, but again, I didn't know that. So at the time, it was like, oh, if I didn't like fuck up SCDA, then I would have gone 128. Like that was like the, you know, the thought process back then. Like it doesn't sound like I'm popping off that much, but like I was like quite a quiet. If you talk like normal fucking volume in this house, appearance think you're too loud, brev. So you gotta be like.
I golded by 4 seconds.
Yeah, okay, you can kind of hear it in my voice now, but yeah, this is like 342 is genuinely not bad. Like, even now, that's like obviously now because of the strats you do, but like I'm pretty sure a lot of people's like Neptune golds in these categories is not like 342 because again, there's like I say easier like because Neptune is hard, so it's not easier, but like in terms of like other than like Neptune shots and then like small frame optimizations, if you're not doing the other strats, then there isn't like much time to save or lose if you're not getting hit. So it's like, you know. Like, 342 for, like, most people would be, like, really, really good. But yeah, that 249 Knucklehead kind of sucked.
Have I finally proved my point that 128 is possible?
Okay, well, okay, so what probably happened is that I probably, like, knew after getting mid-129 and grinding a bit more, I probably knew that 128 was possible. But it's probably like, oh, you need a perfect run.
You know what the funny thing is? If I didn't do task route, I would have gotten the 128 because I missed both of the crucial 1 frames to make it fast, so I lost like 12 seconds.
Oh, I counted the, yeah, as I expected, I counted the 3-meter thing as part of the task route.
So if I didn't do the harder route, I would have gotten 128. Fucking, oh my god. This game, it was stuck at 132 for so long, and then it was stuck at 131 for so
yeah, because Chris had 132.52 or something for, like, ages. And then he got, yeah, 131.10 for, like, ages, you know, it was stuck there for months.
So long. And now I've just fucking gone to 129.07. I was at a wall for so long.
I really was, dude. Again, like, I was stuck at a 131.30 something for literally, like, it was, like, 3 months minus a day. Which back then, that's fucking insane. Even now, that's quite uncommon. Considering I was playing back then, it's hard to remember exactly. I used to stream really early. I used to stream at like 2 p.m. or something. Or maybe 3 p.m. So if I was going out for the day, which is like once or twice a week, I just wouldn't have time. Like, I wouldn't have time like to get back onto. I don't know why I was having a schedule back then. I used to only stream for like 3 or 4 hours. Yeah, it was like 4 hours. Because I was just even back then I was still quite anal about the schedule, but I used to stream as many days in the week as I could, if I recall correctly. So I was usually streaming 5 to 6 days. It was like half the time it'd be 5 days a week, half the time it'd be like 6 days a week. I was just playing like all the god. Again, from October 2017 to when I got this time, I took 2 4-day breaks twice, and one of them was completely out of my control. So like
Wrong. Alright, well, thanks for the Chia 2 gaming guy. Thanks for the Chia 1 speed pen. Shut up and look at the screen. Shift roast. Grape with the 10 bits. King Captain with the 10 PogChamps. Cornbread Muffins with 100 bits, thank you.
Yeah, dude, like, I don't think the ads for bits thing existed back then, but, like, I feel like people used to give bits more back in 2018 than they do now, like, just in general. Especially to me, though. But, like, most of my revenue was from, like, those fucking ad bits. Some people were getting, like, 100 bits an ad, bro. It was even 5, like, just that ability to, like, throw bits at a streamer for free was crazy. Of course I never brought it here because nothing good ever happens in this country, but that's not the point.
True Diego and Ninja Cup for the follow. Holy fuck. This run was so good. It was so good. Like,
yeah, like, the run at the time was so fucking phenomenal. Like, the summer best could have been a bit more optimized, but, like, even, like, realistically, you know, like, even if it were really optimized, it'd be, like, a minute and a half off, which is, like, even, like, back then, that was not really heard of. Cole played, like, 40-something seconds off of his sub. But, yeah, less strats, which, that is probably more impressive overall, but, again, it's just, like, you know.
Like, even out of 3K, it's, like, a tiny bit below average, but it's still, like, fine. And then it just gets better, and, like, now that we're men, I only lost time there because I didn't get the 1 frame. Fucking hell, this run is unbelievable. I got both of them. I need to retime that, but god damn. Ferris with 3 bits. Thank you, Major, for the follow. Dude,
This takes me back.
When I got out of plank, I was like, holy shit, like this. I would have gotten 128 if I wasn't dumb. Dude, this is a minute 14 off my summer best.
Oh, I said if I wasn't dumb, and I just mentioned plank, so I wonder if I knew that, like, dying there was, like, unoptimal.
A minute 14. Thank you. Dude, I used to get like 2 or 3 viewers, and then I started streaming again back in like April or something, and people really liked it. I'm not sure why. But thank you all so much for being here. I complain about this game all the time, but fucking 129.07, I can't believe it. I never...
Yeah, I mean, I still am surprised I got a run that good. It is kind of crazy.
Before I'd see the day, I almost skipped 129.
I'm waiting for me to say something. I vividly remember I said something, but I'm, like, waiting to see when I said it.
But you know what the thing is? We're still not done. I gotta get 128.
Yeah, so that didn't happen for a long time. I kind of realized that beating this was just kind of, like, a little out of the question, because this was, like, so far beyond what anybody had done, like, post-call. This run, like, defines the game, as does Cole's run. Like that run and this run, they are, like, completely different eras of movie, but they both just, like, completely changed everything. Like, I was so far ahead, dude. I keep in mind, again, the Chris still had a 1:31.10, and that was second place. I was 2 minutes ahead of second place. This is when I was the undisputed best player. And again, I gotta say it. Oh, yeah, let me put the music back on. Again, I gotta say it. I was playing on 360. I was playing on PAL. And all that routing stuff. You have to wonder, like... Again, it's like... Floating block, again, probably lost like 4 seconds. Well, and then so, like, I'll be a little conservative, but probably like 11 seconds or something. Yeah, like 11 seconds, and then like 3 from 3 meter. So like 14. And then like the plank death, so like maybe like 17. Yeah, like 17 seconds, and then I probably lost like, I don't know how much I lost from driving. Well, I mean, fucking hell, I lost a lot. It's gotta be like 35 seconds or something. I'm not even fucking with you. It's gotta be like 30 to 35 seconds. I'm not even joking. So, but let's be like really conservative and say like 45 seconds total, even though that's like 28 seconds. So I'm being like very conservative. Because the driving's gonna make more of an impact compared to the loads, to be fair. So yeah, so like 45 seconds. And again, like I there's no way I would have gotten all of that, especially because there would have been a higher chance of choking, and also. Not in Neptune, but like other splits, and because of just extra nervousness, like before Like again, I'm still 100% positive. If I was on 128 pace into Neptune, I would have gotten it. I'm 100% positive about that. But yeah, on top of that, I get 45 seconds, and then there's also like the, I'm not gonna call it free time save, but the easy like 5 to 6 seconds of time save from like setting up a guitar storage. We set it up in a different way now. The other one is still valid. It's still, I think it's theoretically faster, but the bash is just so much easier, and it's like almost breaking even with like a really, really fast ball attempt, so it's like, bruh. And then again, it was like the BBBH thing as well, the slow backwards route on accident. Like the slow 3K sponge ball on accident. The slow 3K floating block on accident, like again, like car wheel buffers stuff, and just like not knowing that the fade out was slow. Like not getting the fade out was slow. Again, like at the time this run was like considered like, oh yeah, it's like, because again we didn't know a lot of the mistakes or like yeah. But this would have been like, again, on the higher end, it would have been like a mid 128. But it probably would have been like a 2x, like 128 2x. From making the run easier and just faster for free, with the only thing then making the token frames harder. But even then, that would have given me a lot of leniency. Like, it absolutely would have been 128. Abso-fucking-lutely. So yeah. I still wish I got 128. That's like the only thing with this run, is I just wish I got that fucking SCDA floating block 2 frame and just got 128. That would have, like, the only problem is that, because, like, we knew that there was at least, like, a tiny amount of room for improvement. That would have completely fucking killed the game. Like, not for other runners, but it just would have, like, well, it could have made people, like, less interested in the game in the sense that, like, it would have felt like absolutely nobody could have gone world record, because it really was, like, even with the mistake, it was still, well, okay, put it like this, right? I stopped playing movie at this point. I went back to, well, I think I quickly played AWT for like a bit. Maybe Frogfish is hard to remember, but definitely AWT. Well, not definitely AWT, but I'm pretty sure AWT. You know what's funny? I remember I went to the zoo the next day, and I just remember, because that was the last time I went to the zoo. That was like one of the best days of my life. Just like the combination of these 2 days. I think I said in this run, in 3K Bungie, I was like, oh yeah, I can't stream tomorrow because I'm going to the zoo. Or at least I said I'm going out. That day was so good, dude. We were out for hours and hours and hours and hours, and it was just, like, so good. I even had, like, a nice, like, slushy as well. That was really good. The chips were really good, and just, it was, like, it was fucking huge. It was like an hour-long drive, but goddamn was it awesome. It was great. But yeah, like, just like the combination of those 2 days, it was so nice, dude. I don't know, like, I wish it was 128, but I don't know. But then if it were 128, then the 139, the 130.07 would have been a 129, and that wouldn't be worth it. So I kind of wish, like, I got the 130.07 and then a bunch of stuff got found, and then it's like, alright, I'm switching to OG, and then, I don't know, I just got the STDA floating block 2 frame. That's like the again, effectively a 1 frame for being that late in the run. I just wish I did it, dude. Because, like, 128, but this run is still, like, a legendary time in the game's history. Like, the second most important run in the game's history, if, you know, yeah, I would say it's, like, the second most important run. Although that one flat 49 and no pause storage is a pretty decent contender, because that also had, like, quote-unquote, like, no mistakes, you know, it made, like, all these run, like, I would call the SCDA floating block thing a mistake because of how much it lost, so That was a mistake, and then like the guitar storage thing was a mistake. There's like two notable mistakes at the time. I mean, the 3-meter thing was obviously a mistake, but it loses so little. And then Cole's run, I think he just died in like SCDA or something and lost like 6 seconds. That was like the mistake. And then my mistake in no pause storage was effectively like a bad SCDA end, but it was like a little below average. It wasn't that big of a deal at the time. We have slightly higher standards now, but yeah, I don't know if you could call that a mistake, really. And then I missed Sunday Jump, which doesn't lose like that much, so those are like the 2 mistakes. 1, if you want to be generous. Like, those are the kind of runs where it's just like, they like define the game, you know what I mean? Where like so much can go wrong, it feels like anyway, and then you just only make like 1 or 2 like notable mistakes. It'd be a lot easier to come back now, but that's its own thing again. I probably run out of stuff to say. Like, this run means so much to me. But the fact that I stopped at 129... Like, the fact that I stopped at 129.07 shows how good this run was. I genuinely did not feel like I was realistically... I say, obviously, I didn't feel like... This run felt like a fluke, and I kind of wonder if it was. If it might have been a fluke at the time. I feel like it was kind of a fluke. And I just kind of like... Again, it just goes to show how good this run was. The fact that I didn't feel like I could PB by 7.5 seconds. If I had that extra knowledge after the fact, I would have gone for it, but yeah. I genuinely... At the time, we thought the OG... don't ask, but... We thought the OG saved 3 seconds over 360, and we thought it faster... And we thought it was all from loads. Just don't fucking ask. Again, like, we didn't know fucking anything about this game until, like, 2020, and then we began, but then even then, Mindy Skip was, like, it feels like we haven't, like, truly understood this game until, like, after, you know, like, Resin showed up, like, several months ago and basically told us how Mindy Skip works. Shouts to Resin, but yeah. But also shouts to, you know, the community back then, of course, you know. It was quite motivating to just, like, have so many people, like, supporting me, And then, you know, I just grinded battle, and then kid named Hand Pain happened, so lol. But yeah, this, when you factor like everything, this might be like the most important run in my career, but it's hard to say. Because that one flat 49 was crazy. And that Hondo run I got as well, the 221, was like crazy in a similar way. But, yeah. All in all, like, yeah, I don't regret playing this game at all. I just, like, regret, like, the lack of knowledge with some stuff in general. So, yeah, I did analyze the run a lot. There was, like, so much that was, like... But even then, like, a lot of people don't play this category to the point of getting a sub 130, so even now, like, beating this time takes a bit. Like, not many people are gonna do it, so it still has, like, that, you know... But it just makes me wonder, like... What time would it have been if Mindy Skip existed? Because, well, like, how much time you save for Mindy Skip depends on how bad, like, the worse you are at the game, the more time you save for Mindy Skip. Because you're skipping tokens. So at the time... But then again, you can't do BBBH, but that was factored into the timing. So, probably would have been, like... It very realistically would have been, like, 111. Wait, hold on. No, it would have been, like, Yeah, it would have been, like, 111. Like, probably, like, mid-111 or something. Yeah. That's kind of crazy. So that wouldn't have really meant anything back then. Well, not meant anything, but you know what I mean. But then again, our times would probably be a bit more optimal, just because, like, we can get more runs going, like, and not as, you know, there's not as much stuff to kill the run, like playing Spongeball. But yeah, so maybe, like, 110 would have been seen as possible back then. Maybe that would, but then that's so close yet so far away to 120 to 109. So that's another thing. Like, I feel like I kind of wish Mindy Skip, like, began to exist, like, after this run, like, because it took another, like, year and a half to find Mindy Skip, and I feel like if it just got found, like, well, I couldn't play in 2019, so that would, like, I did get lucky with, like, you know, I came back for, like, a couple months, and then when I started getting a bit burnt out, like, Mindy Skip got found, but well, buffers got found, and then I was just having fun with that, and then Mindy skip, so... But obviously, assuming no hand pain, I would, like... If it just got found, like, in, like, early 2019 or something, that would have been, like, really good time to, like, come back. Because I had a pretty good time in battle. I had, like, 7th place when I stopped, and I was, like, a top 5. Maybe I would have gone, like, top 5 and then, like, went back to movie, I don't know, but, yeah. But yeah, that would have been pretty cool, but yeah, it's just the game is what the game is. The game is what it is. And yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. It's quite long. It's to kind of compensate for... Well, I had an idea for a different video, but... It kind of, like... I already kind of, like, went over the thing in a different video recently. So I feel like I kind of realized, like, oh, I could just go over, like, individual, like, levels or something. Like, or, like... Even, like, the history of, like, a trick or whatever. Like you know, there's, like, 20 to 30-minute long videos, but I just go into, like, more detail. So that's how I'd get more than, like, 10 minutes. Because normally I talk about for, like, 10 minutes or something, but I can stretch it to, like, 20 or 30 if I want to be, like, as detailed as possible. And I'm thinking of doing that, but because I made, like, the history of sliding and driving video, like, I wanted to make a video on weenie out of bounds, but it's just, like, it's hard to justify that. When it's, like... I already went into quite a lot, like... As much detail as what's, like, needed. Maybe even a bit more than that, like, back, like only a few weeks ago. But yeah, this video, another reason as well why I wanted to make this now is just... Oh, I kind of forgot. I should have waited until the fucking anniversary of the thing, but whatever. I mean, I could record another video and then upload this later, but I doubt I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be busy from... Well, I could record a video tomorrow, but, like, after that I will not be able to until, like... Sunday, and even then I'll be tired, so, you know, preferably Monday. But it's also the comment, because last week was a Pokemon video, and then a couple weeks ago was, like, the Donkey Kong reaction. So there's been, like, less movie recently, so this is, like, a compensation for doing, like, longer movie. So I don't know what video to make next, because I had some ideas, but some of them were just not interesting. I was gonna make, like, a big video before, but I feel like that would be, like... It would have taken a lot of planning. It already did take quite a bit of planning, and I didn't even do it. I wasn't even done. And some things, I just don't know, like, how to classify certain things. Well, I don't want to spoil it. I mean, I don't really think it matters that much, but yeah. Yeah, basically, like, yeah, a lot of stuff happened from 2019 onwards, and it's pretty, like, if you know, like, the NMG run, like, vaguely, or if you've seen me run No Pause Storage recently, NMG is similar to it. Quite similar for, like, the bulk of the quite a lot of the run, like 80% of it, probably more. It depends on how you look at it, but like, it's clearly a lot of you most likely know that this shit's pretty different to how it is now. It's way harder now. Even with the buffers, it's just way harder now. There's less inconsistency, but there's just way more tricks. So the resets is still, like, there's still more reset. It's just, like, a less toxic game that has a lot more going on, so it's, like, better to run. It's a lot better to run while still having, like, the high skill ceiling. I do, like, I just miss the era a little bit, just from, like, the lack of knowledge just made things, like, more, like, you know, like, it was easier to PB by, like, large amounts. I'm just, like, kind of reminiscing now, but yeah, it's just, like... Yeah, it's just easy to... feel that way, but I'm quite happy with, like, how the game's turned out now. It just sucks that, like, it's pretty much just, like, the double sandwich driving plus mini skip not being possible outside of English Xbox. Like, that's essentially, like, the problem. Otherwise, the game would be, like, fucking in a great position. Oh, and the tutorial not being out. I'm probably gonna work on it. I'll probably give myself, like, a 10-minute break or something, and then hopefully grind it today, at least like a bit. So yeah, that's the video. As usual, thank you for watching, and goodbye.